But football's become soft like our country has become soft.
And so having said that, I want me some glory hole.
I'm going to drink a lot of Budweiser tonight, Tracy, and I promise you that.
Hello? You play to win the game.
I hate football!
They're like, Pat, how'd you punt so well today? I'm like, good question.
Did you realize that you were a champion in their eyes? Yes, I did. So I packed it up and brought it back.
Welcome back, fellas, to another Laces Out. We're at Laces Out Show on Instagram and on Twitter. And by the way, the guys who handle the social media account have been knocking it out of the friggin' ballpark. Welcome back, AJ Hawk. Welcome back, Pat, who I understand you're playing sick.
Yeah, it's my flu game, Jerry. I've been battling a sinus infection. I think I might have picked up some diseases in Youngstown yesterday. I'm just battling through here to talk about football with two incredible men.
What diseases did you pick up? Because if it's just the flu, then I think you're way ahead of the game.
You know, Youngstown's the grittiest city I've ever been in my entire life. I mean, that's just a gritty city. Good people love to drink, and it actually made me feel better. I was a little bit sick on Friday, went to Youngstown on Saturday, felt good while I was in the gritty city. Then this morning I woke up just feeling like complete dog shit. So I don't know if Youngstown helped or just kind of paused everything, but I feel like I'm going to be okay tomorrow. But this is definitely a flu game. Michael Jordan, Game 6.
AJ, have you been to Youngstown? Or did you find it gritty, or what's your grittiest city in the world?
Yeah, Youngstown is definitely gritty. I used to go to Youngstown when I was in college. I have a lot of buddies from up there. It's it's like old school. What they shut down some of the mills, I believe. So there's some sketchy areas. A lot of Italians.
So many Italians. Too many.
The mob used to be up there. The mob is still around a little bit, but there was big time. I mean, the owner of the Niners. Carmen, the policies, Jed York, there's all kind of connections to Youngstown and football and everything. It's a great spot. It really is.
It was awesome, but there's too many Italians. I'll tell you, as a guy who grew up around so many vowels, all my friends, we're talking Maraldo. There was a Mastro Giacomo at one point, Dalla Sala, Pronio, Impovito, DeGilio. Just so many people in my life with so many vowels. Ting, 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 ting. I've grown up with it. Great food, beautiful people, murders, organized crime everywhere. Can't help it. And that's exactly what Youngstown State was. A lot of great, there was grit, there was football, there was pizza, and there was boxing. And that's Dave Portnoy's shirt, and it was 100% true. That is what Italian places are. It's just good old, we do a lot of really gritty, blue-collar, awesome things, but every once in a while, crime's going to get covered up here and there.
You see, when I was a kid, the north end of Boston was the Italian place. And it still is, except it's become what it was, which is that kind of grit and that kind of real authenticity to it's now the Italian pavilion at Epcot. You know what I mean? Like, it's all the same pasta and sauce that really ought to cost you about $5.99 or whatever is now like this upscale thing, and it all just, pasta la formaggio.
Yeah, that's organized. That's all organized. Those price increases are all organized. Just like going to Little Italy in New York. They're all working. They're all hustling. At any given moment, you could be at a place where Jimmy Boom Bots was murdered and his second grandkid just upped the price of chicken parmesan because that's what they wanted to do. It's all organized. They did it with gas. They killed Jesus. People don't talk about that. Pilate, or Pilate was his name. He was hired by the Jews. And that's the first organized crime in history. And it's really sparked a book and a lot of wars since then. I think that's a very true case there.
What book is that? What book would that be, Pat?
It's the big one. It's the big one. Well, it's the sequel, actually. It's the sequel. Yeah. Because normally nobody talks about the sequel. Like movies, there's not a lot of good sequels. But that particular book sequel really caused quite a rift through a lot of people, A new character. They added a new character. It was like The Rock.
Is this the Book of Mormon? Is that what you're talking about?
No, that's Joseph Smith.
Yeah, that's The Godfather 3. That's the kind of lesser one that is pretty good, but it really didn't hold a candle to the two earlier ones.
I think the Mormons are all misunderstood. I had a chance to be teammates with Austin Collie, who's damn near the Tom Cruise of the Mormons in the athletic realm. He went on a 2-year mission down in some very dangerous Spanish country. And whenever Mitt Romney was running for president, Austin Collie was like one of my workout partners. I was like, yo, if this dude might be president, I want to know what he believes. He ran through the entire Mormon religion in a 45-minute conditioning period with me, right next to me. I'll tell you what, interesting beliefs, those people. Very interesting beliefs. They've had quite a hard life, and they might be the most hated on group of religious people here in America. Well, okay, that's a lie. That's the Muslims. But the Mormons are the second group, I would say.
A couple things about the Mormons. One, they're honest to a fault. Like I've heard that Howard Hughes, when he owned a casino, he hired only Mormons to work the counting room because he knew that they weren't going to be pocketing the money. He didn't have to search them on the way out. Two, anything that any religion that begins with no alcohol, no caffeine, I just say best of luck to you. I'm happy for you. You're going to age
You're like the Amish.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sorry, I can't do that. That's the non-starter. And you just have to get past all the the Book of Mormon itself is wacky. Like Joseph Smith had a angel named Moroni come to his house and say, there are some golden tablets buried near a tree in your backyard in Rochester, New York. Dig them up, copy everything down onto paper. Don't tell anybody about the plates. Don't show them to anyone, and then just hand out this book.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Sounds legit.
He's the all-American prophet. I mean, that's what he is. That happens. Now, we can get into a couple other books and some weird shit that are in them, too. Walking on water, things like that. But, I mean, the Mormons definitely believe some incredible things. I like them. I like the Mormons. They're trying to live as if Jesus lived. That's what they say. No alcohol because Jesus didn't have alcohol. But wait a minute. His blood was wine, bro. That's a hangover alcohol. That's not just a alcohol. That is a hangover alcohol that was running through his veins. Maybe Jesus' best feat, by the way. His blood alcohol content was 1.00 at one point. And nobody talks about that. The Mormons, though, are just an interesting. They're trying to live like Jesus. So they're very good people. Austin Collie is one of the nicest humans on earth.
AJ, that sounded like it was rehearsed that he said that to the judge at his arraignment.
Hey, Jesus.
Yeah. It definitely sounded rehearsed. So I roomed with Brady Papinga for 5 years at home and away games, training camp. So believe me, I've got the rundown on everything. And the one thing that you have to respect about the Mormons, they might be the happiest group of people on the planet.
So with no drugs, no alcohol or caffeine, they're happy. How?
I don't know. Well, women tend to be really hot, and they age well. I mean, Mitt Romney, holy cow! If Melania Trump had never existed and he had gotten elected, he would have had the milfiest first lady in the history of the White House.
Mitt Romney's wife? Are you speaking of?
Or Mitt? I thought you were talking about you wanted to have sex with Mitt.
I'm not ruling it out at this point, but I mean, no, the wife is definitely She's the upside in that relationship for sure. Hey, she would definitely be the first choice.
Before we get into this, it's week 7 and football season is in full swing, which begs the question: how is your fantasy football team doing, Jerry?
Not well. Michael Rappaport is in the process of curb stomping me.
You're going to hear about that tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And for the rest of your life on social media, you're going to hear about that from Michael Rappaport. You know it. I know it.
F-bombs flying everywhere. Yep. It's going to be a total...
Fuck you. Fuck you. Maybe you drafted a dud in the 4th round, or your first-round pick is on the shelf with a bum knee or an injury, which we will talk about. A lot of superstars getting hurt right now, which is changing the entire NFL. That's why it is never too late to forget about those injuries in fantasy football and get back in the winning column with DraftKings 1 week fantasy football. With DraftKings, there are many ways to play. Choose between public contests with big cash prizes or private contests where you can compete against a group of your asshole friends. DraftKings also has beginner and casual contests where you'll play against people of similar skill level. The best part is you get to draft a new team each week without any commitment. There's no better way to turn your love of football into cash this Sunday. Get to DraftKings.com now and use promo code HIKE. That came out of nowhere, AJ.
Good work.
Did you hear that? That was like a hard count right there. 3rd and 3, 4th and 3 maybe. Little hard.
Well, you did. You played with Peyton, so I guess you saw the best, huh?
Oh, hey. Promo code HIKE to play free with your first deposit of your share for your share of over $1 million. Holy shit, it's my first time reading this. You could win your share of $1 million in total prizes this Sunday. That's promo code HIKE to play free with your first deposit for your share of over $1 million. DraftKings, the game inside the game. Disclaimer. I was probably not supposed to read that word right there. It was in red, but they just snuck it right in there. I mean, what am I supposed to do right there? They just dropped that right into the middle of the ad read. Minimum $5 deposit is required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for detail. It's free. Why wouldn't you try? Actually, it's not free. You edit that out. Disclaimer. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details. Shout out DraftKings. Big fan of those people. That's awesome. Use promo code HIKE and do your thing. Win over $1 million. That'll be awesome. That'd be awesome.
But so we're going to let you slide.
You're going to need it, Pat. You're going to need that roving, no commitment type deal with all the injuries we've had come up.
It was outrageous. Today was a sad day in football. Like, as a football fan, I was not happy with what happened today, Jerry.
The last 2 weeks it's inarguable. We've lost 3 of the top 10 faces of the league, right? J.J. Watt, Odell Beckham Jr., Aaron Rodgers.
Just out of nowhere. Just Aaron Rodgers on a bullshit play, not that big of a deal. Bang, fall, broken collarbone on your throwing arm. Jesus. Oh, the entire NFL landscape has now changed.
But Pat, what do you think of the play? That's like the debate. He was out of the pocket, so he doesn't get the protection he normally gets. I still feel like it was an unnecessary. Like, the one thing you can't do in the NFL now is like drive a quarterback into the ground. If you watch Anthony Barr, it wasn't like a malicious play, but he definitely had time. He had a step and a half probably after the ball was gone, but his helmet stayed on, like, connected to Aaron's chest and drove him into the ground, which is the force that caused the break in the collarbone.
Is it possible to let off like that? So that's my one question. So it always happens, right? There's always especially now with the way the quarterbacks are being protected, there'll be like a guy midair or already jumping and they hit him and the ref calls like a fucking roughing the passer call, and the guy's like, well, he couldn't have stopped. How hard is it as a guy who played middle linebacker and had to cover, sideline to sideline, 53 and a third? I might be a Caucasian from Ohio, but I got this whole damn thing on lock. How hard is it to stop mid-tackle or mid-thought? Is that very difficult? Does it depend on who you are? What's the situation there?
Yeah, definitely. It's difficult, but I would say it's not really difficult to not, like, pile drive a guy into the ground. And Anthony Barr, like, it wasn't like overly like an obscene plant into the ground, but it was like, that's one thing you can't. I understand he should have hit him. He's definitely going to hit the quarterback there, but you don't have to drive him into the ground. You can kind of, I don't know, like glide over top of him so you make sure you don't get that penalty for driving him into the ground.
See, I think that's the difference between me and middle linebackers is I was trying to pile drive him every time. So,
well, yeah, so was I.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm not missing anything. There were no flags on that play, right?
No.
Nope.
Just a motherfucker afterwards by Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I don't know what you could have called. Like, it wasn't. He didn't go helmet. He didn't lift him.
Well, they said they speared him. They said he speared him.
That's coming from Packers Nation, right? That's not coming from
AJ was even thinking that, though. I think AJ's on that team. I think AJ, friends of Aaron Rodgers, is saying that it was bullshit and that he shouldn't have tried to drive him through the ground, is what he was saying. He should just taken his late shot and just let him fall to the ground, right? That's what you're saying?
Yeah, it's surprising that they didn't throw a flag. And I know they're using the rule book to say once you're outside of the pocket and you're moving around, you don't have the same protection, but you still have protection from being like speared into the ground. I always feel for the defensive guys, and obviously I'm biased because it's Aaron. I know him well, but it just it was unnecessary, I think, how he did drive him into the ground. I bet you, I don't know, Anthony Barr probably has mixed feelings on it. He doesn't want to do that, even though it helps the Vikings' chances of winning the division much more now that Aaron is out of there. But it's it was kind of shocking that there wasn't a flag, because we all know refs just have an innate ability to protect the superstars, and which they should. That they drive the league. People turn on the TV to watch J.J. Watt, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, all of these great players, Odell Beckham. And when they're out, it does not help the league. That is for damn sure. So that's why I was kind of surprised to not see the flag. Either way, he was still going to be hurt whether there's a flag or not. But it was surprising.
How good it is to hear a defensive player say that. Because I feel the same way, and the world is filled with guys who didn't play. I'm one of them, but I'm not a phony tough guy who sits there and says, "Oh, come on, why don't we just put a dress on him?" Which, by the way, was the motto of the XFL. Yeah, it should have been.
By the way, XFL would have made it if Vince McMahon didn't start screaming Vince McMahon, I think, would have made that a real thing if it was just a live event and not on live television. So I want to let you know I got the back of Vince McMahon's brain there. NBC forced it on TV. That's why it failed. Anyways, go ahead, Jerry. Sorry.
If the motto of that league should have been, "Come see the third string quarterback play." I mean, there's a reason you protect quarterbacks, and I'm for it. In this case of Rodgers, I just don't see he didn't get a DDT move. It wasn't a pile driver. It was just he fell funny. The guy did fall on him. I'll give him that. I don't know how he peels off of that, So, but when they throw a flag to protect a quarterback who takes a shot to the helmet, 100% of the time I go, I'm fine with that. Even if it costs my team a game, as long as they call it consistently. But I don't know what an official could have done in the case of what happened to Rodgers today. He just fell in a freakish way on the most important right shoulder in the NFL.
Hey, AJ, will you send Aaron Rodgers a text saying that I hope he gets better soon?
Yeah, I'm sure he will be very happy to hear that.
Just say, hey, Pat McAfee said he hopes you get better soon. And now if you get bored ever, it's okay to go on the Pat McAfee show too. And maybe a Skype interview from home, and that I hope he gets healthy soon.
Okay, I'll send it to him right now, and I'm sure he'll jump right on the Pat McAfee show.
We're all about a team here, fellas. Why don't we have him on Laces Out?
You think our technology is going to handle this? We are on a 45-second delay. That's why we're stepping on top of each other. You think we could add another person into this? I think I'll drop out. I think I'll have to drop out for this to even operate if we were to add another person. I think it would be an issue.
AJ, you good with that?
Yeah, 4 mics is way too much. I've had Aaron on my deal a few times, one-on-one. I think because he knows also I'm not going to probably – Pat would probably just ask him about like, oh, well, you never swam in a canal, allegedly, got hammered and roofied yourself and took your shirt off and got a great mugshot and then took a slick back your hair with your dad behind you in the elevator and had a mullet going in and talking to the judge?
AJ, I don't know how to tell you this, but like you don't just get like 1 million downloads on a show with terrible questions like that. Okay, AJ? And the fact that you think that's why I asked that is the reason why my show is doing so well. Because everybody comes to expect just shitty-ass conversation. And really, you hear about Adam Vinatieri wanting to motherfuck a ref one time. I just get people to open up about some stuff.
First off, Pat, your show is amazing. I'm not taking anything away from that.
You did, though. You did.
No, I didn't. You did. You're great at what you do, Pat.
You did. Sorry, that was other people in the room.
Someone's. I'm sorry that you're so sensitive about this.
You took a shot at the show. That's somebody else.
You're a media mogul. You really are. I appreciate you.
Unbelievable, AJ. We get it. You had Aaron Rodgers on your show. We get it, AJ. Right, Jerry? Like Jesus, we fucking get it.
You had Vinatieri with the greatest kicker ever to live.
Ever.
Wow. He says, I don't know what we're yelling about.
I am so bummed that he's not in though. He's my favorite. I specifically turn on games just to watch him play in the offense of the Green Bay Packers play specifically. And then whenever that game, when he got hurt, it was just like watching a preseason game all of a sudden. I'm like, okay, so we got quarterback going against another fucking guy. I don't know. I hope they do well. I think Brett Hundley's a good player, but boy, that got real boring real quick.
Hey, but think about this, Jerry. Now, though, we all know the question is, are they going to bring in Kaepernick? What do you do? That's what everyone already is asking.
And they've asked it 1,000 times already this year. There's been plenty of opportunities. I mean, we see what's going on in Cleveland, where I'm on their depth chart right now ahead of Colin Kaepernick. And Kaepernick, I understand, is suing the league for like collusion and even if there's not this overt conversation among other GMs, like between themselves, don't hire this guy. Clearly, nobody wants a piece of him. Even to be Huntley's backup would be a shocking move at this point.
Well, Pat told you don't want to bring in your backup quarterback should not be a distraction. Similar reason why having Tim Tebow on your team, a distraction in the other way, in a good way. But
I don't know if that was a good way with Tebow, by the way. Jesus.
Well, I don't know if you could say either of them is a good or bad. Either of them's a good or bad distraction. But I'm saying if you're gonna have distraction, he better be your starter.
Absolutely. It's a risk reward thing, pro con. It's like every decision you make in your entire life. Now, granted, could he start some places? I think so. After watching some football here the last couple of weeks, there's been some shitty football going on. But it's just and this lawsuit going against the NFL is not going to help anything. I mean, it's like the guy who ends up the head of the NFLPA as the player, he normally isn't on a team. Like, it was there for a while. Like, he just got like kind of blacklisted because he was the head of the NFLPA. That happened, but then now that the lawsuit happened, it's over. And I think it's cool. It'll be interesting to kind of watch the Colin Kaepernick lawsuit thing go to fruition here, because we're going to learn a lot about a lot of things that I think were said and not said amongst owners and GMs. I think it's going to be an interesting thing, or it's going to get buried so quick that nobody even realizes it happens. It's one or the other. I'm excited to hear. I'm kind of excited to see where it goes.
And so in the immediate aftermath of Rodgers, who's the best team in the NFC now? Because I thought
Eagles
in that conversation. Yeah, I guess it's got to be them.
The
right?
fucking Eagles look good, man. Carson Wentz. You listen to like mic'd up of Malcolm Jenkins and them on the team when they're talking. The way they talk about him, they believe in him. Like, I think the Eagles, not only like the fans and shit like that, I think his teammates believe in him. I think they got a good thing going. I think the Eagles got a real good thing going. And the Chiefs. Jesus, the Chiefs lose to the Steelers today. I mean, who knows what's going to happen in the NFC?
Everything I know is wrong.
Yes.
We're 6 games into the season, and every conclusion I had, the Jets look legit. Just when you thought the Giants were dead, they're in the middle of giving given a game on the road at Denver. You can't figure anything out other than I will give you this about Philly. That defense is legit.
Joe, Al Michaels just said. Al Michaels was quoted on Sunday Night Football saying, "The Giants are coming off a worse week than Harvey Weinstein." Yo, Al Michaels shots fired from Al Michaels. Also, update, we just got Martavis Bryant of the Pittsburgh Steelers is searching for a trade or asking for a trade. I mean, the NFL is just completely upside down right now. Who knows who's going to be good? Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what, like, the NFL is just outrageous right now.
Okay. I want to go through some of these games too, because there's just, good teams playing like crap. Teams that you thought were dead are coming back to life. But I want to celebrate in game form my man who made the play of the year so far, that heartthrob whose name ends in a vowel, Tony Corrente, for that call in the Patriots game today.
Wow.
What did you guys make of that? Because I thought it was just genius. I don't throw the word hero around that easily, but Tony Corrente, you, sir, are a hero.
So I went back and forth on this call. At first glance, when I watched it, I was thinking, oh, okay, I agree with him overturning it. And then I watched all the angles multiple times, and I have no idea how you overturn that. Oh. It's like the clinic tape of, oh, whatever was called is going to have to stay the call because there's not enough video evidence to overturn this. And he clearly, when you watch again, the ball never touched the ground. The ball was just in midair 3 inches away from his forearm, Austin Safarian Jenkins, however you say his last name, for a second, and he recovers it. He snatches it back up, bam, score. I thought at the very worst for the Jets, they would just call him down maybe at the 1 if he said, oh, his knee was down and we weren't sure if the ball was across the goal line. But never did I think it was going to be a touchback.
It's fucking outrageous. I mean, that's an insane call to make. Absolutely insane. I think I'm a big fan of Tony Corrente, too. I think he's a nice guy, but he's an Italian. We got to remember that. So when shit like this starts happening and these calls are made, we got to remember, like Tony Corrente. Paisan.
They killed Jesus, right?
They killed Jesus. I mean, who knows what happened there? But that's those things that happen, though. I always like the Chiefs. When 4th and 2, they went for it on the 2-yard line, 4th and goal from the 2, and they should just kick the field goal. They would end up winning the game if they just kicked the field goal. But they go for 2. The guy catches it, and then it's on the dude's lap. Like, so much freaky shit happens. I have no clue how it happens. Like, that is like by law, the guy loses possession before he goes over the goal line. Then while he's traveling over the goal line out of bounds, he doesn't have 100% hand on the rock, but it's in his possession clearly. And then it's like it's so fucking nitpicky. I'm like, what did they do back in the day before they had any technology or anything like that? Were they just all confused as shit, or was everybody just dump it under the rug, like don't worry about it, let's just keep it moving? Because it seems like so much bang bang shit that's so fine lined happens on such a regular basis nowadays.
That one though, if you took it to the illogical extreme, it's like he ran across the goal line, juggling the ball, and went out of the back of the end zone, 10 yards upfield, and then secured it. This was that in microcosm. It was over the span of about like 3.5 feet. But to me, he lost possession before he was stripped by Malcolm Butler. And there's a reason Butler and Chung immediately said he wasn't holding him when he crossed the goal line. He didn't get it until he was out of bounds, so he never held it in the end zone. To me, it looked fairly simple. And I'm a guy who hates when they over-legislate that stuff. Unless it benefits people I'm pulling for, I guess.
Hey, Pat.
Yeah.
Pat.
Yeah, buddy.
Update on your boy. So I actually did. I texted A-Rod and said, Pat hopes you're doing well and you get better. And he said, ha, Pat is a beauty.
I don't know if that happened or not for real, but boy, I just got a boner thinking about it. Just got a...
No, it's 100% real. It's true.
This is
but,
what a day! What?
I've been in contact with him since he got hurt, obviously, but he.
Are we serious right now?
He's a big fan. He didn't say he's not coming on your show. I didn't mention that, but yeah.
We should have just took it that step further there. That was that chance to go a step further. Wow, this is a big day. I think I might leave the show. I think this is done now. That's one of the cool. I don't know how I'm supposed to just sit here for the rest of the show, knowing that Aaron Rodgers says I'm beauty. By the way, I'm a beauty. Is that what he said? What's the exact quote?
Ha, Pat is a beauty.
It's amazing. If I would have got 3 ha's out of that, would have felt a lot better. 1 ha is just like I understand he's funny type thing. So I wish 3 ha's would have happened, but calling me a beauty makes me feel real good. And that just, I mean, it's going to be hard not to peacock around the next couple of days. It's going to be hard not to peacock. I'm going to say that.
He actually said, and then would you feel really good if I said, comma, he said, ha, Pat is a beauty, comma, cuz.
Wow, he probably did. Now they think about it. He probably did. He say the word. Did he say cuzzo? Maybe he went full in cuzzo. He dropped it.
Pat, you know how you have this infectious personality. You really impact a lot of people. Actually, my brother texted me a couple days ago, and he said something. I forget what we were talking about. He said, "Yeah, I don't know about that, cuz."
Yeah. Yes. Was it supposed to be a cuz like a B cuz, or was it like a cuz like friend, like kin? He said it like cuz like kin.
Yeah, like cuz, like I listen to your stuff with Pat. I love Pat.
Cuz. Yeah, I like that. And that's your brother, so he's very wrong for saying that because cuz is cousin short. So he's definitely fucking it up. That's why I like it even more. He could have said bro. It would have been spot on genetically, vaginally, all that things. But instead he went with a different family member just in spite of your hatred for the word. I like that a lot. I love your brother. I wish I could meet him.
Yeah, I have 2 older brothers. They both listen to the Pat McAfee show as well.
They both suck me right where my dick is. I think they're my favorite members of the Hawk family. All right, Jerry, sorry.
That's fine. Listen, there's no ambiguity in that text, Pat. You're not. I don't mean to harsh your mellow, but you're not thinking that maybe he could have been saying, "Huh, yeah, he's a beaut." Like, here I am. I'm laying in a hospital bed. I just broke my collarbone. Another season, championship dream is over, and this guy is trying to get me on his show.
No, AJ helped me out. He didn't try to pawn it into, maneuver it into him coming on the show. He just wanted to let him know I had my well wishes. Right? It was like a God bless you. I sent him a God bless you.
You sent him, thoughts and prayers.
T's and P's, cuz. T's and P's.
Was there an emoji? Because an emoji will usually explain exactly what he's trying to get at.
The only emoji I can describe right now is the fucking dick one. What is that called? What's the
eggplant?
It's an eggplant right now. That's my moment. If I was to emoji this right now, it'd be an eggplant right now. Solid eggplant. Favorite football player on earth. That guy, A-Rod. He's so cool. He always does this.
He's a beautiful, roundy faced pile of poop with eyes.
He does the Hawaiian thing, right? Hang loose. Is that what it is?
Yeah, he does that a lot. He always goes, yeah, bro.
Hang 10? Is it hang 10? What is that?
Yeah, I think he says bra more than cuz, but he always does this. I don't know, and I love it. And then his mustache is so impressive, and then his swagger's out, and he motherfucked the guy that tackled him today. I mean, everything he does is golden. That guy's a beaut. Send that back. Go ahead and cut that out and send that one back. That's awesome. Sorry, let's get back to this show.
Phipps, isolate that. We'll send it to him.
Done.
I am full on peacocking over here. Chest out, eyes up. We're in a whole new world, whole
It's
different show.
amazing. You came out of your sickness. You don't have herpes anymore. Probably you're doing great.
It's an Aaron Rodgers miracle.
He throws Hail Marys. He does. I'm beating my flu game because of A-Rod. He should put that on his Twitter bio. Jesus Christ. All right. That feels good, though. It does. I'm going to be honest.
It does, Pat. You know what? I'm going my game ball right now. I'm giving a game ball this week.
What? Who was it last week, by the way?
So Phipps, mute his mic for me so I can actually give a game ball this week because I'm not scared to take it away again. My game ball goes to 11, probably maybe 15 players that rotate in for the Miami Dolphins defense. First off, the Dolphins beat the Falcons. That just shows you I have no idea what's going on in the NFL. No idea. They beat them. Jay Cutler's the starting quarterback. The Dolphins win. But the Miami Dolphins defense holds Atlanta's offense scoreless in the second half. They were down 17-0. Super Bowl hangover, I'm sure people are talking about in Atlanta. In Atlanta's crazy stadium with a 360-degree scoreboard up top. It's unbelievable. But their defense was awesome. Their dude, Kiko Alonso, one of their linebackers who I love. I don't know if you guys saw the clip of him carrying Taylor Gabriel, the little receiver. He carried him like firemen's carried him like 12 yards down the field. He didn't dump him. He knew he would have got a penalty if he dumped him, but it was great watching him carry him around like it was some WWE wrestling match. But Miami Dolphins, game ball for me. Bam.
Wow.
Yeah, Adam Gase might be legit as a coach. I mean, it's only been a year and a quarter or whatever, but he took over from Dan Campbell, who I don't know if you know the guy or if you have any impressions of him. To me, he just seemed like one of those guys like, I'm an alpha male. I'm going to spread my feet apart at the podium. My face is a clenched fist. I will kill you with my eyes. And I think Gase is legit. I mean, Atlanta scored 23 or fewer points twice all last season. And most of the year, they were lighting people up for 40. They just held them to 15.
Hey, first off, how did they do this? They came out and won in the face of adversity when your O-line coach making $2.5 million a year is doing coke, sending it to strippers or escorts.
That's what I was about to say. I think we found their weak link. It was that cokehead offensive line coach that was using a stripper's body as a buffet of cocaine for a few years. That's what she said. Kiwana Nije. She also told LaQuisha that he stopped sending her checks. These are all actual quotes. I'm being 100% serious. This is not anything that I'm just making up on the spot. Old Chris Forster was using Kiwana's body as a buffet of cocaine, and she told LaQuisha that Chris stopped sending them checks. Can't stop sending them checks. That guy had other things on his mind. They had a clearly focused offensive line room where their coach wasn't worried about potentially pregnant prostitutes in Paradise, Nevada. And then here we are. The Miami Dolphins are back in the game, and Jay Cutler deserves this. Jay Cutler decided not to go sit in a booth. So we got Tony Romo, who crushes it every single week, by the way. But now we got Jay Cutler goes from doing nothing to now he's winning a game again because they got shut out a couple weeks ago. And it's all because of that O-line.
Hey,
that little
what's amazing?
Little snow globe.
A guy told me this that I do my MMA show with on Sirius. He said he thought it was not a big issue. First off, the fact that this guy is doing coke, filming himself, talking to the camera in his meeting room at the Dolphins facility, the balls on this dude, and he's getting paid like $2.5 million a year as an O-line coach, which is unheard of. But my buddy RJ said he's just using it's like PED for this guy. He's spending 18, 19 hours at the facility. He needs a little pick me up. So what's the problem?
Jacked.
Which is why I have a.
Let's talk football. What's that, buddy? I'm sorry.
No, that's why I feel that the Dolphins won because of him. But the opposite you're saying, I think they were inspired by him, and I think they won the game for him. It was like one of those win-win for the Gipper things. Let's win this one for Chris the Cokehead.
I've been in a few hilarious Chris the Cokehead going right down. That'd be like Trump branding style right there. Cokehead Chris down there in Miami. Oh boy, that was deep. That was from the heart. I might puke over so much excitement from Aaron Rodgers calling me a beauty. That's how good I feel right now. I've been in a few locker rooms, and I've had a few friends, both sides of the ball, from all spectrums of the life. I couldn't tell you one guy that would ever say that falling in love and sending a video to a stripper is a good move and a respected move in a locker room. So I would assume that all of his players had a lot of questions, and all of them were going to call him a dumbass. So I don't think there's any inspiration. I think it's all like, that guy's a fucking idiot. I think there's a lot of that conversation happening in the Dolphins locker room.
I think maybe some of them agree with me that it's this. He just loved the wrong woman. Get my participation ribbon because every woman in the world says what? They like guys who do little gestures. Just, call to say I'm thinking about you. Maybe send a card for no occasion. He said, I love you. I miss you. I wish I would take these lines off your funny business. I think that was romantic, but he's just sent it to a woman who couldn't appreciate the man that she had.
He stopped sending them checks, cuz. Can't stop sending them checks.
So was she pregnant or not? He mentioned her being pregnant in the thing, so she's going to be off the shelf with the Coke game for a while. Is she pregnant?
Nobody's asked the follow-up. I don't think we got to get some people in there. I think we need to send in some real reporting to Paradise, Nevada. Need to talk to Kiwana and to LaQuisha. See what was going on with LaQuisha, too. Let's see. There might be numerous pregnant women out there. Buffets full of cocaine, these ladies. I mean, let's talk about their life decisions. Maybe we call Dr. Phil. Let's figure this all out. AJ.
He probably will. Honestly, this coach may go on Dr. Phil after I'm sure he has to have a stint in rehab to try to rehabilitate his life. Dr. Phil will have him in there and grill him, don't you think?
I am so happy I got NBC back, by the way. My local affiliate made an agreement with the cable providers, so I have NBC back. I don't have to watch on an app. Dr. Phil's back in my life. Ellen's back in my life. Trebek's back in my life. Sajak's back in my life. Sunday Night Football's back in my life. It's a great day, but Dr. Phil, you guys should watch. Also, Bull, which is a story about Dr. Phil's life before he became the Oprah psychiatrist. Also good. I'm a big Phil McGraw fan. He also parties with Ron White, so you got to respect that.
I hate to disappoint you, but I want you to hear it from me, Pat. While you were away, while you didn't have NBC, my man Austin lost on Jeopardy.
I missed his whole run. His whole run. The reason why you watch Jeopardy is for a fucking character like that to show up. What's that say? What's that say? It's blurry. It's blurry. It's blurry. It's blurry.
Pull it back from the AJ. It just won't.
It's blurry.
It won't focus on it, Pat.
It's blurry.
Let's get real close.
If you could just, it's
dynamite radio.
Wow.
Still need to go on the show one day.
What? He said that out of nowhere? You didn't even mention that?
No.
Let's go!
This is great podcasting radio, but I feel like with Pat peacocking around, they have to show some of these video clips of Pat doing push-ups and dancing with his Jordans and tight ripped jeans on.
They're not Jordans. These are the greatest shoes. These are Under Armour's Muhammad Ali's.
They're definitely not the greatest then.
Muhammad Ali isn't the greatest?
Yeah, he's great. I'm not. Have you seen Under Armour's basketball shoes?
Yeah. Don't knock the Nurse Currys, cuz. Okay, I reigned fucking 10 points in a celebrity basketball game at the Indianapolis Black Expo. In those Nurse Currys. Thank you very much. Got wet, got fouled shooting a 3, too. The most Caucasian thing you can do. It's my life.
Before the show, Pat said that he's never pleasured himself in the studio. That streak ends tonight.
I do feel pretty good. It's going to be hard to sleep tonight. It's going to be real hard. I mean, I'm battling through a flu right now. I have Mucinex in my body, running cold. I got a little marijuana in there. I'm going to have to take a little NyQuil, all that stuff. The thought of Aaron Rodgers just possibly having a conversation with me one day. What a life, man. What a life.
Just unplug the webcam. That's my advice to you, son.
Just for future reference, I am not a person that likes to pleasure myself. I do not like to beat my penis in public. I do not think that's proper etiquette to do in the world. I wouldn't do it in my studio.
All right, where are we at here? I can't get my focus off of Pat's pant tent.
Actually, Jerry. Yeah. So Jerry, I want to ask you, as the diehard Patriots ball washer, what do you think of that play?
Yeah, as a general rule, I hate when they over officiate, but he didn't have the ball when he crossed the plane of the end zone. Wow. And you can look at it any way you want. And I keep hearing that he never lost possession of it. No, he absolutely did before he did. If you want to argue that it's not conclusive, okay, maybe we can talk on that level because it was ruled a touchdown. And generally when it's as sketchy as that, then they just, let the play stand. But to me, he lost possession before he got in. He hits the pylon, falls out of bounds. Now the ball's in his hand. To me, he was never actually in the end zone with the ball in his hands.
I think I could see that too, though. I mean, you could see that, but it's like so interesting that they overturned the call for that. Like that's crazy, especially in New York. Like that's a gigantic market with the like he had Tony Correnti, who's a good guy. I've had a chance to talk to him. Obviously, I said that earlier. And although I said he was Italian, I don't want that to be held against him. Modern Italians aren't as organized as they used to be. So it's like you can see how that can be the call. But goddamn, there had to be a moment there wherever he's talking to whoever's upstairs and he's like, are we really going to do this? Like, this is a fucking big time rule. They had to know that was going to happen.
Do you remember a couple of years ago, the Rex Ryan years, the Pats lost to the Jets on a field goal. It might have been overtime. The Jets missed the original kick, but then it was ruled that there was a push in the back, Patriots defender pushing another Patriots defender. And so they re-kick and they get the field goal. Now, that call has never been made before or since in the history of football. They actually had it on their website. It's complicated, but in a way that the Patriots explained that they thought that push was legal. The NFL went in after the game and changed the language on their own website. So it was different than it was before the game. That to me was a million times more sketch than Austin Seferian-Jenkins like bobbling a football.
Yeah, but a field goal block team pushing people is kind of like assumed. It was assumed as against the rule because it was like 600 pounds of dude just crashing down. It was when they were trying to protect everybody's ankles, the offensive linemen's ankles. And although they did have to reword it, I think it was pretty much understood that you can't fucking do that. I think it was understood. And although the Patriots did it and it worked, that I think it was just kind of like an understood thing. This is not something I think that's universally. I don't think you're going to see a lot of players or coaches talk about this, because it's going to be like not something they should talk about because doesn't bother them. But I don't think you're going to see a lot of players be like, yeah, that was the right call. Like I think you're going to see a lot of people be like, yeah, that's so crazy to overturn that whenever other shit happens on a very regular basis.
Is it fair to say, AJ, that they over-legislate, like in general, like everything becomes, and I know you love Ed Hockley, but my God, every time he gets the microphone, it's a 20-minute dissertation on some rule that you sit there and go, how is that? What committee even thought of writing that into a rule? This to me was not that. It was pretty cut and dried. He didn't have the ball in the end zone.
It's definitely not cut and dry by any means. No question. It is not. And I'm not a big Ed Hockley guy. I know it's like.
I am.
I mean, Ed, I don't know. Ed called me Mr. Hank one time on the field, and I think I've never been the same with Ed. I never respected his guns as I did before, but I still like him. He's good, but Correnti he's the man. He's the
guy.
Yeah, I really do like him. Is it his call? Does it come to him to overturn that? How does that work?
They mentioned somebody else's name, a guy.
Yeah, because every scoring play goes to somebody else. So the other person
doesn't it go to New York where they look at all of them?
Yeah, so it's not Tony. Tony was the bearer of bad news, but I do believe that there had to be a conversation between Tony and New York that was like, "This is fucking pretty crazy. You're gonna make me do this right now." I think.
Yeah. For sure. I would imagine Tony be like, I'm pretty sure we got this one right. We can't overturn it. And then when they told him, no, it's over, you got to overturn that. He's like, no, think about that.
Why don't you do it? Why don't you come fucking do it? I'm getting hot over here, by the way. Taking my hoodie off. It's a good night. It's a great night here in McAfee history.
Just peacocking around.
Peacock.
You're flush. You actually have a glow.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've been outside. Youngstown State had a bunch of sun shining, and I picked up a nice little glow. It was a really good day. And I do have that pregnancy aura right now of excitement.
Pat, do you know the head coach of Youngstown State?
Yeah, Bo Pelini.
Yeah, he brought his Italian crew down back there.
Oh, of course. Jim Tressel's up there running the yard, and then Bo Pelini's out there running the books, and then they're just running a full operation down there for the Penguins. Penguins covered, by the way, by 0.5 point, thanks to them. Great news. Go Penguins. Favorite animal, by the way, a penguin. I don't know if it's a bird or an animal. Can't fly. It's only land-driven, but penguins are my favorite animal.
All right, this is going to sound like heresy coming from me to you, but I think penguin is one of the worst things you can name a sports team.
Wow. Unbelievable. Jerry, I think...
Like a weird, awkward, flightless bird. Like, come on, guys, I want you to get out there and I want you to fight like penguins.
There's a pelican. That's a sports name. Like, there's so many. A penguin is the most G motherfucker in the goddamn aquarium thing. Like, that's what you want to be. You want to walk in and you want to be the coolest one, and it's a penguin. You want to be a cool motherfucker. They might as well call themselves the cool motherfuckers, because that's what a penguin is. It's just a cool motherfucker. How are you kidding me right now? I fed a penguin mouth to mouth, by the way. Put a piece of fish right here in my mouth in Japan. And it's a penguin bar. I bet your son might know about it. In Okinawa, it's like this big penguin bar. And they come strut through the aisleways every like 30 minutes. A bell goes off. And I was like so excited. I was in heaven right there in Japan. Nobody, hi, hi, hi. Everybody's screaming. And I just put this fish in my mouth. And the old G, the head penguin, whatever his name is, he came up and scooped that thing out. And we had a moment right there. And that sealed it. I mean, I grew up a big Penguins fan. Yarmir Yager's best penguin I've ever seen in my life. But I just really enjoy penguins, man. They're my favorite animal. So you making fun of them is highly disrespectful, and I don't appreciate it. But the Youngstown State Penguins like to party. They love Italians, and they run a great racket there.
Was it the Mighty Emperor Penguin?
That's what it is. That was the head one. And you don't like Happy Feet? Like, are you kidding me? Best movies on earth. You don't want to be the fucking Youngstown State Happy Feet, cuz? Are you kidding me?
I've seen March of the Penguin, like All Things in the World, narrated by Morgan Freeman. I want him narrating my death. I want to do my funeral, whatever. Yeah, great movie. I'm not inspired as an athlete by being associated with this small, awkward, wobbly bird that really is a fish that walks on. It's essentially a fish.
The only thing that can almost come close to how cool a penguin is a fucking otter. So if there were the Youngstown Otters, that'd be the only way it'd be anywhere close to as cool as being a penguin. I wish I could have been a penguin. I was a Mustang, which is a horse. I wish I was a goddamn penguin over being a horse. What's that horse going to do? Nothing. It's got 4 legs, and it's going to run out of gas. It's going to need a nap. That penguin can march its ass all the way from Antarctica to fucking the equator. It can do whatever it wants. That's what penguins do. They got grit. That's why they're in the gritty city of Youngstown. That's the way it goes.
See, there's a reason why the lamest Batman villain was a penguin. You know, if there was a horse guy, okay, that's cool. Horses are badass. They run. The kings ride horses. Penguins are
penguins ride horses. That's what kings do. They ride. Penguins ride horses. They're fucking kings, guys. Emperors, royalty. Have some respect.
Can we agree that the worst team nickname in all the 4 majors is
Orange?
The Predators.
Oh, Chris Hansen, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. What the mascot should be a guy with a members only jacket and a primered van.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Come here, take a seat. What are these text messages you just sent a 12-year-old? Let's talk about it. Nashville. What about a Buckeye? Have you ever thought about that, Jerry? A Buckeye? Hi.
Native plant though, right? I mean, do they get like extra credit? Like, do they get a pass just because it's their major crop?
Buckeye's not a major crop. It's a poisonous nut that grows on a tree.
They don't grow Buckeyes? I never asked what it was. I just...
Buckeye, it's a nut that grows on a tree.
Why did they choose that?
Jerry, you think you just go down to the fucking mart and pick up a bunch of Buckeyes? Hey, I would like to buy a bunch of Buckeyes or some of them Ohio ones. I want to
your guys, Ohio's #1 crop, the old Buckeyes.
Processed it into soybeans or something. I don't know.
That's a bad name, the Buckeye. Another one, the Orange. It's a bad name. Just a fucking fruit there. Just an orange fruit. Just an orange fruit.
Yeah, all right. I mean, orange men, I guess I could sort of live with.
There's a lot of bad names.
Somehow. Yeah. All right. Speaking of names that are actually pretty badass and had the greatest day of maybe anybody today, the Pittsburgh Steelers coming off of an absolute dog's breakfast last week where they look like they're at war with each other. Roethlisberger comes off 5 friggin' touchdowns. And they get smart and they just give the ball to Le'Veon Bell and beat the only undefeated team in football. And fuck you, 72 Dolphins. We don't want to hear about your stupid champagne party. And Mercury Morris is going to start running his gums. And, Don Shula's going to, wake up in the middle of watching Matlock at the old folks' home to crow again. But no more undefeated teams. And I don't know if Pittsburgh's capable of doing this again or if this was a one and done, but they were legit.
Ben Roethlisberger talked about not being able to have it or having it anymore last week, 5 picks. Now this week he comes in and balls out. They feed Le'Veon Bell, who says he's thankful that the team trusts to put the rock in his hand. He must have had a little bit of a hangover from not being at training camp. He's looking good. Antonio Brown had one of the most outrageous touchdowns I've ever seen in my entire life. Hit off a dude's face. Like, hey, cuz, your face mask almost caught the goddamn ball. That's a tough situation. I've never had to look up at the lights like that. It was probably tough to catch, but Antonio Brown makes a big play. 4th and goal at the 2. They don't kick the field goal. It comes back to bite him in the ass. But what a big win. Martavis Bryant, though, says he wants traded. It's going to be a lot more drama down the road for the Steelers. Who knows how it's all going to work out. But with the NFL shaping up to be with so much parity, the Steelers being good at the right time could be great for them. Could be great for Mike Tomlin, who has the most swag out of any coach. He was wearing fresh Air Force One, cocaine white Air Force Ones today, with some sweatpants and a long sleeve like athletic wear shirt. Just zero fucks given over there with some fresh Air Forces. I respect it. I like what they're doing.
Is that the color that they show in the drop-down menu if you're on Nike.com?
Yeah.
Cocaine white?
Yeah, cocaine white, cuz. Yep.
Okay.
Or you can call them the Pablos, whatever you want. Or El Chapo. Or you can call them like Britney Spears, white girl. Or you could call them like Chris Forrester, same thing.
Yeah, the Forsters.
Yo, let me get them Forrester Air Forces. Yeah, they're full of regret and cocaine. Got it.
Regret.
Jesus.
But hey, for real though, how was an O-line coach making $2.5 million a year? How did that ever happen? Their coordinators don't make that much.
He had to have something. Adam Gase, he's got to have something on Adam Gase, right? Isn't that the coach who works out those deals, or is that the GM?
No, it's the GM. Yeah, the GM, owner, president, whoever. They do their deals.
He must have been.
I don't think he was a Gase hiree necessarily, because this is his second tour of duty in Miami. He's been in the league 24 years, and it took this to get me to ever know his name. He wanted to do like giant, foot-long lines off the cooch of some, Vegas hoe. What does it take in this league to be famous? Do you guys know the Patriots offensive line coach? I just say this because to me he's the most famous position coach in the league, but I don't know if anyone outside of here knows him.
Well, I got arrested, and that's how people knew who I was. So this guy.
I know who you're talking about, Jerry. I just can't think of his name.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure. What is his name?
Dante Scarnecchia. Now,
Italian.
Hired years. They won a Super
Italian?
Bowl without him. They rehire him, bring him out of retirement, and I heard they offered him like dump trucks filled with money to come out of retirement, and I can't believe that there's someone making $2.5 million. Like, he's probably making north of that. And by the way, he first came into the league in 1983.
Is there any cap on how much you can pay coaches, or is it no cap?
There's no cap.
Oh my God. So guys, if you're like an actual, because there's a lot of bad coaches in the NFL. I've got a chance to see a few. There's like not head coach. We're talking positional coaches. There's a lot of money in the NFL being spent on a lot of not talented people. Oh my God, I'm going to die. I'm back. The A-Rod thing kind of wore off there, I think. But there's a lot of non-talented people coaching and scouting in the NFL. Money's getting wasted on. If you're a good guy, you probably have a lot of leverage in making a lot of cash like Scarnecchia does. Or this Forrester guy, his amount of energy he had was unmatched. And he just got paid off of that forever. I mean, there's probably a lot of cokeheads running around in those. Those coaches' hours are outrageous. They're fucking outrageous. I don't know how any coach signs up for it. They just live at the facility watching bullshit film day in, day out their whole life. I don't know how they do it.
Their whole life is dictated on the head coach's schedule. Like, if you're coaching for a good head coach that wants to actually be around his family and see, like, you can leave, but certain places, like, you can't leave until the head coach leaves, and you got to make sure you're still there guarding your desk at 11 p.m. on a Thursday night. And it all depends on how the head coach is. And so I cannot imagine being like just having that. Once the season starts, coaches will tell you, they know, like, all right, well, once camp starts in August, they say, or end of July, well, I'll see you in February. Like, that's about it for me.
Going into hibernation.
Yeah. Did you hear the even worse news for Forrester, by the way, that he's in debt to the IRS for like to the tune of like $600,000, and that's just in the last 4 years.
He's got a good accountant too. I bet you he and his accountant did a lot of blow together as well. Probably great people taking care of him.
The lesson here is if you draw a Venn diagram and one circle is the population of guys who do lines at work and send the videos to Vegas hookers. And the other circle is guys meticulous about their 1040 forms. There's not going to be a lot of overlap there.
Hey, don't judge a book by its cover there, Jerry. Jesus Christ.
That's right, Jerry. You know what? You should judge BetDSI.
Wow.
Think about it. Think about it.
Transition.
You know that. BetDSI.com, we know, has been in business for over 20 years, paying winners. A+ rated on sportsbook review sites. You can use your sports knowledge to make a bunch of extra cash. They have an easy-to-use mobile playing interface. You know the saying. You play, you win, you get paid. BetDSI offers odds on everything football, including live betting and props as games are in action for all of the people that love to stay up to date and watch the games and just cannot get enough and have to throw bets in during the third quarter. We know BetDSI offers odds on pretty much everything else, including all major sports, politics, reality TV, pretty much everything. I heard Joe Giudice has lost like 45 pounds in prison, Pat. So he's whenever he gets out in like 2 more years, he's looking for it. He wants to come on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Get him and Aaron on the same show. Talk about it all.
You talk about a headlining event, and Dr. Phil will be the encore. So you use promo code LACESOUT25, and you get a $25 free wager just for registering. If you decide to deposit, you will get a 200% bonus match on your money. I play there myself, and I recommend BetDSI if you want to add a little excitement to the games you are watching. Once again, go to BetDSI.com and use promo code LACESOUT25. Get a free $25 wager on the house and 200% extra bonus when you deposit. That's LACESOUT25 to get your free wager and start winning today.
Now, the sun doesn't set 2 times a day. Does that make sense? Okay.
Is that Jared Goff?
No, it's Dr. Phil. What are you talking about? That's a Dr. Phil quote if I've ever heard one in my entire life. Okay.
Yeah. Between you and me is I've never heard a Dr. Phil quote in my entire life, except when he was talking to me outside. How about that chick?
You can't roll off the right side of the bed twice, okay? Does that make sense? Everything is like this incredible cliche. It's just like, holy hell, where did you think of that? BetDSI, the best place on earth, by the way. I love them. I've been betting on politics and winning strong because I know everything that's going to happen when it's going to happen. That's why BetDSI. You play, you win, they pay. It's awesome.
Okay. Pat, do you have a game ball this week?
You're damn right I do. Justin Tucker.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Who? Who is it?
So I think who I'm going to give my game ball to is he's a guy who attempted a 50-yard field goal today.
This is shocking news. Shocking that you're going to pick a kicker.
Dude, this guy hit a 50-yard field goal, and it went through the uprights, over the fucking uprights. I've never seen this ball. This might be the biggest kick I've ever seen in my entire life. And I'm saying that with 100% serious. He might have kicked this ball 90 fucking yards if there wasn't a net to stop it. Justin Tucker absolutely annihilated this football. And like the announcer said, he boomed it. I'm like, boomed it. That's the biggest ball I've ever seen in my entire life. Obviously, the Ravens went on to lose it in overtime, but it was just an incredible play that had to be made by an incredibly clutch guy who sent a football into fucking orbit off of his right foot, and I think it deserves a game ball. One of his teammates said he's going to put a beam on me, though. So I don't know if you know what that means, but he said he's going to put a laser of a gun on me. That's what he said. One of his teammates said that.
On you?
Yeah, in Twitter and on my comments section.
What happened? Tell us what happened.
So,
not to blame the victim, but what did you do?
Thank you. I don't deserve it. So there was a video I posted where a guy calls heads, and Ed Hockley's flipping it. So the old buddy calls heads, and 99 of the Baltimore Ravens goes, tails never fails, as it's flying through the air, right, for overtime. This is on national TV. And it lands heads, like right in his face right afterwards. Bang, heads, right? And he had this look like, oh, like fuck, right? Like he was upset, obviously. And I told him that I made a video mentioning that I used to be a tails never fails guy. I was always a tails never fails guy. But soccer, everything. I always called tails. Tails, tails, tails. Let's go. Get tails never fails. And then I got in the NFL. A couple of my teammates said, yo, why you pick tails, cuz? I said, tails never fails. They said, yeah, I'd rather pick heads. They'll always bet on my dick. I was like, all right. And that turned me. That turned my whole vision. You know, I had a whole mindset change. So I posted a video showing him, and I said, this guy has been lied to his entire life about tails never failing, just like I was, until I heard heads, you always bet on your dick. And I turned, and for some reason, he got very offended. And he told me he was going to put a beam on me and shoot me, and he wanted me to tell him where I was. He was going to come fight me. He was going to come fight me where I was. He was that upset.
Who is this guy? What's his name?
99. I'm not allowed to say his name because on Twitter he said I should keep his name out my motherfucking mouth. And I didn't know his name. I just said his number. I didn't know who he was. So I never actually said his name. So I'm going to continue that right now. But this guy sounds like I could be dead in the next few days, all because he was lied to about tails failing. And it happened out of nowhere. I was just trying to help out. Yeah, it happened.
Wow.
You know what, Pat? Every man dies, but few men truly live. And you might as well die for a worthy cause, like whether you should call heads or tails.
And he like wanted to fight me. He was trying to fight me. He was trying to show up to fight. This is a D lineman trying to fight me because I told him that tails failed. I just let him know that tails failed, whatever he said.
Wait, so Pat, though, the timeline of this happened during the game. So afterwards, like
directly after they lost. They lost.
So he's probably in the locker room responding.
Yes, telling me he's going to put a beam on me. He's good. They lost in overtime. Said he's going to put a laser pointer of a gun on me.
That is awesome.
Yes, absolutely. It's incredible. And I
just think if you get shot, how much you get shot, but you're not dead. Think of the content you'll have for your stand-up.
Bro, the street cred is outrageous right now. If I get shot, we're at a whole nother level. I mean, it's like 50 Cent levels of fucking just. All because of a tails never fails joke. All of a sudden, I'm getting a beam on me, cuz. Like, by the way, as an NFL player, tweeting out to random people that you're going to put a beam on them and stuff like that, probably not the best look, if I had to guess. But that's just on him.
That's a threat that you could technically turn into the cops.
Oh, absolutely.
Yo, cuz, listen.
That is flat out a crime. To threaten to kill somebody is a crime all day long.
Yeah, listen, I ain't like that, though. I ain't going to, snitches get stitches. Always bet on your dick. I learned a few things in my life.
Let's say he gets waived next week.
And he shows up, I'm fucking dead. If he gets waived because of this, I'm dead.
Hey, I think we should petition for him to get traded to the Colts. 99. Colts, sign him up. Grigson's not there anymore. If Grigson was there, Grigson would bring him in.
By the way, the Browns have not won since Grigson joined them. And just for future reference, Browns don't even look like they're anywhere near it either. Just something to think about.
What do the Browns do now? They pulled Kaiser. Hogan obviously didn't play well. Like, what do you do? I have no idea.
There's a tweet way back in the day, September or something. No, like maybe July. I don't know. And then they were like, we're with Deshaun Kaiser through 2017, through the good, the bad. And then they pulled his ass after 1 week. It's like, it's an interesting, there's no clue over there. They have no clue over there.
You know what, though? It's getting to the point where it's fascinating. Like we're sitting there, who's the best team in football right now? Is it Kansas City? I don't know. You take the Packers off that equation. You say maybe Philly. Watching the Browns every week is weirdly fascinating.
Because they're good.
I
think they make plays. I think they make plays, though, where you're like, holy shit, this team could be good. And then all of a sudden, the Browns. That's just what happens out of nowhere. The Browns just Browns out of nowhere.
Like, if every game was pay-per-view, I would probably buy a Browns game. Just like, all right, for instance, before the game, David Njoku is giving them a pep talk. Like, what's in that pep talk? Like, what magic is he trying to draw out of them? It's beyond hope.
There's no good pep talks ever, especially if you're 0-5, 0-6. There's not anything you can say that's going to make you play better.
I'll tell you what, AJ, I was a big anti-pep talk guy, too. I'm happy. I used to find so much comedy in them. It was so difficult to listen to them, like, with a straight face. It was very, very difficult because it's like you're watching a movie, but you're in the movie, and really in the back of your mind, like, if I don't play good, like, I'm gonna get cut. Like, that's good enough for me. Like, I want to make money forever, so let's just play good. But then you get this whole speech that starts right in front of you, and it's like, whoa, we're in a movie all of a sudden. Here we go. I got to play my part. I got to be motivated here. I got to clap.
And especially, and Pat, if the camera, like if it's a primetime game and the cameraman started coming, you're like, oh no, guys come out of the woodwork to try to lead that. And all of a sudden they're a leader, they're a vet, and they're up there talking, and you're just standing. Like I'd always stand on the outside of the huddles, and just like it's the word that the cringeworthy. It's straight cringeworthy material. Where I would always wonder, I'm like, man, if I did that, my 2 older brothers they'd put a beam on me, no question.
Don't talk about beams on people, bro. It's very scary. It's a very traumatic series. Tonight, we're going to play football. Harder, faster, better than they are. Bring it in. Yeah, we needed that. I needed what you just said right there. I wouldn't have been able to kick a ball tonight if you wouldn't have done that. But it's not for me. I always assumed it was for the linebackers and running backs and for the offensive linemen who are about to go hand-to-hand combat. So it's very interesting for me to hear you say that because I always sat on the very outside of it, and I was always like, man, this is so interesting to me. Like, I start judging. I start rating the speeches now. Now I'm like a movie critic all of a sudden, breaking down the motivational speeches. I'm like, I can feel that one a little bit. I mean, I think and then others, I'm like, yeah, that was terrible. That guy should never do it again.
Every once in a while, like, there would be something said that was decent. That you'd be like, okay, cool. Like if that felt authentic, but it was usually from a guy that didn't speak much, or all of a sudden it was a big game and they just said something, but it wasn't like rehearsed or they didn't do it for the cameras. That happens very, very rare. But what I was shocked to find out sometimes was the speeches that certain guys, a lot of guys love that stuff, man, and they get really excited when one of those horrendously terrible pump-up speeches would happen.
I was never allowed to give any speeches, by the way. You know, like at the end of practice, call it up, break it up. I got to do 0 of those in my career. 1 actually, because I got Player of the Month or something like that. So,
well, you should be happy because there's never anything like, let's see what Pat breaks it down. What does he break down the team on? It's going to really
good question.
It's going to add to our success.
A good question, AJ. This is what I did. I said there once was a boy. He was in high school. He had no arms and no legs. He wanted to be a wrestler. None of his friends told him he shouldn't be a wrestler. His parents didn't tell him he shouldn't be a wrestler. He went out there his first wrestling match. They gave him all the pride in the world, and he got pinned in less than 4 seconds, like a fucking rug. His destiny wasn't to be a wrestler, and everybody should have told him that. But our destiny is to win this weekend and to get our dick sucked. Everybody bring it in on win and get our dick sucked. Win on 3, dick sucked on 6. 1, 2, 3, win. 4, 5, 6, get our dick sucked. Let's get out of here. Never got to break down a huddle again.
Now that would go over well, though. That would be universally loved.
Yes, it was, by the way. Just for future reference, it was very much loved. And I think that should be a little bit more of a breakdown on a regular basis. 1, 2, 3, win. 4, 5, 6, get our dick sucked. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, right now you got me ready to Kool-Aid Man right through the wall of the locker room.
Andy Reid right through there. I like that. Let's go.
What the height of unintentional comedy was a Ray Lewis speech. Like
how about him in that fucking garage? Have we talked about that on this show yet? Where he gave that selfie video before the goddamn Super Bowl in the fucking garage? What was happening there? 2 kneels during the national anthem praying for these kids. These kids, they need Jesus. They're confused. What the fuck was he doing, man? He's a great football player, but goddamn, some shit just gets a bit out of control.
Right, him from the opening whistle to the final gun, fine. I liked everything about that, but everything prior to that and after that was just insufferable.
The balls of flames in Baltimore. The balls of flame that they would shoot out whenever he was doing his dance and then eating the grass that they had in as they brought in a grass, a square on top of the turf. Like he would bring in his own grass to eat while like on top of turf. And then the Flames, I mean, the stadium would lose their shit, though. That place was wild when he was doing that. But, man, what a player. What a fucking player. But that video in the garage, I couldn't.
He still does them, Pat. He puts them out every once in a while. He'll put a new pump-up like speech out with him either in a garage or sitting in his office.
That might be my new thing. That might be my new thing. Does he really do? McAfee's motivational movie might be my new thing, where I just send him out to a random school. Like, you remember when Lou Holtz, he used to give like the pregame speech to random teams, and he would be like, everybody knows that the bumblebee isn't supposed to fly. Its body size compared to its wing size are just nowhere in comparison. Science says that it should not be flying, but what does that bumblebee do? It flies. It flies high and graciously. And that's what you're going to do tonight. He said that one time, and I was like, Lou Holtz for the fucking win. Like, I was so jacked up. I need to start doing that for random-ass teams. Like, just random fucking, like, maybe Youngstown State next week. Like, I might do it for Youngstown State.
No, Pat, put the videos out, but tag Ray Lewis in the video, and hopefully Ray would think. The problem is Ray's gonna think you're serious, but okay, I see this McAfee kid.
Oh man.
I like your Lou Holtz style better than a Ray Lewis thing. I don't know if you could pull off Ray Lewis. There's a certain like incomprehensible quality to it. It's like he's speaking a language. He's like he's speaking in tongues, and we're here, and it's about family, and it's about commitment, and it's gonna be blah blah blah. And just like you said, the camera's like right next to his ear hole.
I'm just not sure that's what he sounds like, though. Like, I don't think that is what he sounds like. Like, I'm not sure. Is that? Do you do a lot of Ray Lewis film study on like is that what he's? I don't think.
Sure, he does these videos sometimes too where it's about God and he's preaching, but he's wearing like earphones, like full on headset, while he's talking about like how to.
The guy was a fucking killer on the field, though,
and off the field.
Yikes! Yikes! Yikes!
Gonna get a beam on me now,
dude. Cuz you don't want one. I got one through 140 characters earlier, and it just felt awkward. Put a beam on you. What the fuck does that even mean? I'm gonna put a beam on you for saying the tails never fails. Failed. What? Get your life together. What if I'm dead though? Have we thought about that? Like, what if I die in 2 days out of nowhere? Just like ping ping, beam. He's last seen with a beam, dead.
What's your obituary? Hawk asked me one time.
What's the obituary? What's that? It like says like what you did with your life?
You know, it's in the family and friends go online and your local paper and they read what you did. In your case, you'd get some column inches though.
He came, he drank, he died. I think that's kind of what people would say.
Gave a Lou Holtz speech. He got a beam on him. That was it.
Yeah, Pat, you just got to hope the day you die, another like a big celebrity doesn't die at the same time, because then all the attention will be taken off your death.
I know. And they always say it comes in threes, and I'll be number 2 for sure.
Or Farrah Fawcett. She died the same day as Michael Jackson. Like, who needed that shit?
What? Farrah Fawcett did?
The same day as Michael Jackson, yep. Like a couple hours after. Nobody cared. Nobody paid attention. Sorry, honey. You're a has-been.
By the way, he named his kid Blanket. Like, what? How? You're like one of the most creative people on earth.
Well, that's allegedly his kid as well.
Wow, AJ, shots at the pop, king.
No, he's the man. But also, it's similar to like you remember the old she was a pop star, Willa Ford. She came out. I think did we talk about this already early in the show, early in the podcast? How she blamed 9/11 for why her career got derailed.
Who?
Willa Ford. She was married to Mike Modano for a minute, the hockey player, but she said she had a new album that came out like the day of or the day before or after 9/11.
Here's a song. Here's a song from her called "Fuck the Men."
Promote it.
"Fuck the Men" is what this song is called by Willa Ford.
Really?
I'd like to make a toast on behalf of men. Here's to the men we love. Here's to the men who love us.
Oh, that's nice.
Here's to the men we love who don't love us.
Oh.
Fuck the men, let's drink to us. Here's to the men we love to love.
Is this? That's not new, is it?
In love with us. Here's to the men who pass on us. That's right, boys.
That's right, boys.
Yeah, 9/11 really derailed that.
I mean, America really could have used that to heal. That cost us.
That song could make a comeback now, because aren't we? That's kind of that's what you're supposed to do right now, is just kill men and nobody should be a man and everything. So I think it's very relevant.
Wow, listen to this privilege coming from AJ all of a sudden. Wow.
Which privilege is that, Pat? My male privilege?
Having a penis. You ever think about that? Huh? Have you ever thought about having a penis, maybe?
I think about it every single day, yes.
Yeah, a lot of times too, don't you? Yeah.
Don't let that happen. Especially you only have days to live. So at least try to keep the equipment up for
yeah. Pat, who would your replacement be? It would really hurt our podcast if you died. But who would your replacement be for the next episode?
It should be Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, okay.
Coolest guy on earth. Penguin, some would say.
It's a good fill-in. That's a good guy to fill in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Eccentric punter. Marquette King. Do you think we could get him to hang it up?
So Marquette and I, although we're friends, are polar different personalities, I believe. I'm more he's just like he's an incredible dancer. But he wears like Power Rangers costumes and stuff. He does like a lot of hilarious things in a different fashion than I do. I feel like I'm more of a smart ass. He's more of like a like an actor type, like a doer, like if that makes sense. I don't know if he'd be great at podcasts, but he'd be good in TV and movies and stuff like that.
I thought you were going to say he's like an introvert, and I don't know.
I don't think he's an introvert at all. I think he's very outgoing. He did the lights out thing today, right in front
That's
of.
why.
How'd you feel about that? Did you see that, AJ?
He did it weird. Yeah, he did like a 360 with it, though. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, and he didn't. And when Sean did it, he had like a wide base, and it was like a thing. I think Marquette was purposely mocking it, though. I think it was a purposeful mock. Which, AJ, did you have any celebrations?
Nope, I did not. My linebacker coach always told me, you got to get his signature. You got to get his signature. And the only thing I ever did, I did the shocker a few times, and I flicked off the sideline and got fined, but that was all I ever had.
That's not bad. See, way less douchey than the lights out dance, which when Merriman did.
It was pretty cool. Honestly, though, like you got to give him credit, though. It was pretty legit.
When it got thrown back in their faces, the Chargers en masse were like mortally offended. Poor LaDainian Tomlinson fell on his fainting couch and wept.
What happened? Did that really happen?
Oh, yeah. 2006 playoffs, Patriots go out to San Diego and win, and it was a dramatic fashion. They had to pull it out, like the Brady threw an interception, and it got stripped, and they picked the ball up. Patriots get the game-winning score. They did the lights out dance on the logo at midfield.
Okay, but Jerry, that's the problem though. That is the ultimate respect you can show somebody if you do their dance. Not only are you saying, who cares if you beat us? You're thinking, I take up so much space in your brain that you could not wait to beat us and do my signature dance on your field. Get out of here. That's the ultimate sign of respect.
See, Tomlinson took it as disrespect. He was
not today, right? Back then, though. You're talking about back then, not today.
No, he said it in the press conference after the game. He said, I'm a very classy person, which, first of all, you're classy when you're telling everybody how classy you are. But then it was, I thought that was very not classy, and it all comes from the head coach. Oh, I've never forgotten that one. It's like, if you do a dance, be prepared to have it thrown back in your face.
I think LaDainian Tomlinson is a classy guy, just for future reference. But I did a golf swing whenever I would pin somebody deep, like it was a checkup shot. And anytime another punter did it, I was like, oh, that's like respect to me. Like, that's what I always
100%, Pat.
Yeah, I thought it was like a shout out. I was like, I appreciate that. Like, that meant a lot to me whenever they did that. So I think Sean Merriman's probably happy that Marquette did that, because it's like a homage, which I believe is the proper way to say that. Homage to the lights out. I don't think he did it right, though.
Celebration of the day to me, oh, God, tell me it was the Redskins. I'll feel like a douche if I got this wrong. But their secondary celebrated by Pat frisking a guy and then emptying his pockets and then putting his arms behind his back and then handcuffing him and leading him off.
Oh, because he's stealing.
Yep, because he handcuffed the receiver. And I just said, you know what? First of all, for my days in the courthouse, their technique was perfect. They could put that in a security training video. But second, A+ for creativity. I feel like at the beginning of the year, all we were getting was guys pretending to roll dice.
Hold on. So that wasn't a pick? It was not a pick. It was just standard good defense?
I think so.
So lockdown. They're saying lockdown. That's what they're saying. Lockdown. Shut down, lockdown corner. That's right, AJ? Am I right there? Lockdown.
Yeah, I think you're right. Jerry lost me I checked out.
Why don't you pay attention a little bit? Why don't you think about paying attention here? No concussions. You remember he said that, Jerry. No concussions at all in him. He's 14 broken fingers, no concussions. He's got a tiger on his ring finger there, but no concussions, he says.
It's a hawk that was going to be had to be turned into a lion.
No, other way. It's a hybrid hawk lion.
Right. So we decided it's a griffin. It's a chimera, which is any animal that is made up of more than one animal. I think it should be a penguin and a hawk, because now I'm finding out how badass the penguin is.
No, they're not bad. They're cool, man. They're cool. They don't put beams on anybody. They just kind of waddle right by them. They're just cool, man.
What about Jerry? Did you see the was it Golden Tate? He dropped the elbow on the ball. That had to be painful.
I didn't see that, but if I'm a coach, I'm going to say, have your fun, but that's just taking your friggin' livelihood in your hands, right?
The Rock dropped the people's elbow on somebody 7 nights a week for 15 years, and he's the most built human on earth. Let's not act like Golden Tate's so fragile. Whenever you're dropping an elbow, you just got to learn how to fall right, let that elbow hit there, and electrify the entire room. I think that was an incredible celebration.
He's dropping an elbow on a football, which so the majority of your body is going to hit, and it's not a WWE ring where there's a little bit of bounce to it. It's on the hard field turf.
By the way, that ring, the bounce that you're talking about is not as much as you think it is. Just for future, I would rather fall on a football field than on the fucking plywood the 2x4s of a wrestling ring. And I only know that because I blacked out one night and bought one, and I have one in my barn. So it's neither here nor there.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, I'm not knocking it. I like the celebration. I love Golden Tate. He's fun to watch, but I just felt like he had to knock him. If you knock your wind out, you got to get up and go to the sideline like nothing happened. I'm sure you guys all know multiple people you've seen celebrate and tear an ACL or something. That's brutal when you see that happen.
It's a very kicker thing to do, that move right there. But other positions have done it, so I want to make sure it's known that. Kickers normally take blame for that type of shit, but other positions have also done it. So I want everybody to know that. People have gotten seriously injured celebrating in other positions other than just kicking and punting. Let's have a little stand-up for the brand moment here. Oh, boy.
We lost it. Normally we used to have to worry about Jerry dying of old age. Now we're worried about Pat dying of multiple STDs and who knows what else, hemorrhoids.
Listen, I am clean. I definitely have hemorrhoids, though, and I've been on such a roller coaster of emotions here tonight. You got to remember, a guy said he was going to beam me up a couple hours ago, and then I'm sick, and now A-Rod's calling me a beauty. I mean, it's just an interesting – my life is in a full fucking pretzel right now, AJ. I don't know
First
what to
off, I get you. That adrenaline dump has happened to now, and you're slowly fading, which is good because we don't have too much longer, Pat, so just stick with us. But the question is, how do you get a hemorrhoid? I don't usually that happens. I think when people.
So let me guess, you've never got a hemorrhoid, AJ? You've never had a.
Absolutely not, and that's an issue I have because I will squat till the day I die.
Outrageous.
And people always say, "Oh, what about you? I'm sure you've had hemorrhoids. You like to squat." I'm like, absolutely not. I know how to breathe, and there's no way you're working out hard enough to get a hemorrhoid, Pat.
Wow.
Are you trying to force your movements?
Unbelievable. I didn't know people got them from squatting because I've never thought about going that hard in a squat rack. I never knew that you could potentially blow out your balloon knot from squatting. Okay. I did not know that was even a possibility. I got mine, how all gentlemen get theirs, which is taking a shit. And instead of taking a business shit, you take a good time shit where you just hang out there for a while, force some things out, and all of a sudden, you got a little knot down there, and all of a sudden your whole life changes. You don't realize how often your butthole touches things until it's inflamed and it hurts. And currently, I'm looking for one of them little donuts to sit on. That's what I'm looking for.
So what do? Do you cut it out? Do you have your girl cut it out? What, cream?
My dad told me to put a frozen hot dog up there, and I just don't know if I can do it. I just don't think I can battle.
But is it like one of those things that never goes away? You just kind of have to manage it now?
No. I think I've had one before and it's gone away. In Vegas, I puked and shit one time, and this is my first time. I was puking into the sink and shitting into the toilet, and all of a sudden, if I had a hemorrhoid in my mouth, it would have came out too. It was a rough day, but it was that was the first time, and that left. So I think mine go away. I think mine cure themselves, and I'm just hoping this one will do that.
Pat, I need to circle back to your dad's cure. So he said, right, don't go to the pharmacy and just get something over the counter for this very common ailment.
Yeah.
No, get a frozen hot dog. First of all, where did he come up with that?
Well,
was that experimentation?
I think was the big thing. He was telling me to go fuck myself. I believe that's what he was saying with that particular situation. But then once 2 days, 3 days passed, and I kept assuring him that this was a real thing, he went and told me this whole, he has this whole ingredient recipe for me to take care of my butthole. He said, listen, your butthole is probably the same as my butthole. This is what takes care of it. And he's probably right. I mean, I did come from his sack, so that's the way it goes.
Wow. I mean, the frozen hot dog up the ass must be like preparation I. Then go to that. But I don't know. I would go straight to the pharmacy.
Listen, I'm a 7th letter of the alphabet, so if I was to get to preparation I, I'd feel pretty good.
And by the way,
it's going to hamper your celebration if you get signed with a team, you play in Buffalo, and they throw the dildo at you, and you're trying to make it disappear. You might not be able to do that now.
I was never going to do that, AJ. Thanks.
You never know. We will never know now, Pat. Unfortunately, you just robbed all of these people of entertainment.
Listen.
I want to feel sorry for anyone that tries that cure, but frankly, if you're getting your medical advice from the Laces Out podcast, you deserve to end up in the emergency room with a frozen hot dog up your ass.
Emergency room. I think the people that listen to us could take a couple hot dogs. Like I have faith in our listeners to grit it out. We got
better than the gerbil, right?
Yeah, we got some gritty listeners. It was a ferret, isn't it? Isn't it a ferret?
No, it's a gerbil.
I think it's a ferret.
No, ferrets are like the size of squirrels almost.
Yeah, and then they have heart attacks, right? And I've heard the story. We've all been through health class, AJ. I mean, it was a ferret, I thought.
First off, it's definitely not health class that I learned that, but it's a gerbil is a known thing, and the real men don't take the claws off.
What you go to private school? The real men don't take the claws off. You're a fucking idiot.
No, the urban legend is that Richard Gere had a gerbil up his ass.
Well,
allegedly.
I mean, again, urban legend, but I don't know that he's ever properly
the most
denied it.
amazing part about that story with Richard Gere, he's known for that, and who knows if it ever happened, that spread before the internet. Like, how did that spread to all the corners of America before we really had the internet and information could change hands so quickly?
Oh, I'm with you on that. Like, the urban legends about, like, there's 100 like wedding stories, and everybody always knows somebody that was there. But when you say name the person who actually went, what was the bride and groom's name? You know, the bride says, lift up your dinner plates. I was at a wedding Saturday, and I did this very thing. I said, everyone, check your dinner plates to see if she put a picture of the bridesmaid humping the groom last night, because my wife was one of the bridesmaids. Because that's the classic urban legend.
What?
I've never heard of that, Jared.
Classic urban legend. That's how it goes.
No, I think
like
your friends are terrible people.
No, because it never happened, is my point.
Sure.
But every has retold that story to somebody.
Absolutely. But now let's go back to the thought, though. Like, that's the largest game of telephone on history, right? Like, it's all hearsay, right? So it's all. Imagine trying to stop a lie about you back in the day. Once it's already got, like Richard Gere trying to stop that, impossible back in the. What's he got to do? He's got to send out a Paul Revere to go one if by land, 2 if by sea. Hopefully he'll get farther than fucking Paul Revere, though, that fraud Israel guy that made it. But is that what you got to do back in the day?
You should have sent an Israel Bissell. I don't know. When you go on like Entertainment Tonight, you're promoting your new movie. You know, you're promoting that one you made with Diane Lane where they're having the affair, and then he just says, "I just want to be clear. Never had any sort of a rodent or a small pet up my ass. I just want to."
That's the only way. But think about for Richard Gere. I promise you. I don't know if it's died down now, but every single interview he ever goes into, it has to be in the back of his mind, be like, man, they better not ask me about the gerbil.
I bet you he turns down a lot of interviews.
Yeah, I'm sure he would turn down the Pat McAfee show strictly because he feels like the gerbil question would come up.
Hold on. Here's a song by Richard Gere called Razzle Dazzle.
Are you serious?
From Chicago?
There's a chance that this guy had an animal rodent up his ass.
But were the claws still on there? That's all I care about. It's a joke. What is this from?
It's
is that the musical Chicago?
In it. And by the way, it's not a good song, but it's a lot more entertaining if you picture it with him with a cardboard tube up his ass putting a gerbil up there.
Cardboard? It's PVC, isn't it? I mean, what do you mean? What's so funny?
I don't know how many ferrets you've been shoving up your ass, but the fact that you know exactly how to do it, I think I'm kind of impressed by, and maybe a little bit.
I like to be aware of everything. I've obviously not done that. I can't imagine how that happens. The fact that it does, it's happening right now as we do this podcast. It is happening somewhere.
Everybody poops, AJ.
Everybody knows someone who works in a hospital. Everyone's got a friend, a sister, whatever, who's a nurse. And there's no one that's ever worked in a hospital that doesn't have a story about somebody with something really weird stuck up their butt having to come in.
I don't think I know anybody that works at a hospital. I just thought about this. I got an ambulance uncle, but I don't. He'd probably tell me, though, if something was up a butt, right? I think.
Oh, my sister's a nurse. She said they had a guy one time with a mustard jar up there.
Whoa. Imagine the conversation that led to that. There was some real desperation happening with that butthole. He was needing something. Give me the mustard. Grey Poupon.
Well,
no,
now
make it Heinz. 57 varieties.
Now, if you got together with your dad with the hot dog.
Yikes.
Get along. But, yeah, my point was always, how long would you spend trying to get it out of there on your own before you finally just say, all right, that's it.
Till death.
I'm just going to admit.
It's till death is the answer.
Yeah, I would starve to death.
Oh, depending on what it is. If it's the Bildo, I think you go ahead and immediately get that taken out because it's large and in charge. But I think there's some things you could probably live with up there. I mean, I've shit some big shits, so I know that things can handle some stuff.
Well, yeah, the Bildo, you could probably pull it out because I would imagine the balls, you wouldn't be able to tuck those in there.
Have some respect for my capabilities, please.
Okay, I'm sorry, Pat. Yes, you could. So you would have to go to the ER.
Yeah.
I suppose if it's a hot dog, you could just consume it. You could just
Jerry could just eat it out like Pat fed that penguin.
Yikes.
Yikes. You know what, though, Pat? The Giants, they won. They're back.
The Giants beat the Broctagon? Brocktober?
Yeah, 23-10. Giants are back, 1-5 on their way to the playoffs.
Smell what the Brock Osweiler's back, being paid by the Browns, playing for the Broncos, losing to the Giants. What a fucking world.
McAdoo, I take everything I've said about your hair away. The Lego Man hair has finally produced a win. That's shocking. And you know what? I give credit to that team. And I want to ask you guys as players. He suspends Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie, a guy that he needs, whose talents he could use, a good slot corner. You stick somebody in there that no one's ever heard of, a guy that they just picked up off the waivers. Does that help the team in the long run? Is it better to just say, look, this guy has gone broken arrow, F him, we're better off without his talent on the field because everyone's going to be on the same page?
I don't know. I mean, it depends what he was doing. Like what he left, what he got. Did they kick him out of the second half of a game, whatever? If a guy is like going crazy and doing things to hurt the team, yeah, it's not a bad deal to suspend him. If we were talking about Adam Gase, if you remember, was it last season? He left Ajay, is that how you say Ajay? Joseph, the running back.
Ajay.
He left him home for their first like away game, I believe, last year, and then all of a sudden he comes back and he's an absolute monster. And I think it just sets the tone for everybody else on that team. They know, hey, we can't mess around because coach isn't scared to leave a star at home. So maybe I think it kind of sends a message to everybody else because anybody that's been in the locker room knows that one bad guy can really poison the locker room. And it starts with their meeting room. Like if you have, let's say you have one scrub veteran wideout who's a good player, but he has a terrible attitude. He's disrespectful. He's disrespectful to the coaches. He doesn't practice hard. He doesn't do the right things. That trickles down. All the young guys are like, hey, I can do whatever I want because the coaches don't say anything to this guy, and it can poison the team.
A bad vet can poison your team. I mean, that's exactly 100% true. A bad vet who doesn't work hard, or at least lets people know, like, hey, when I was your age, I worked hard. Like, now they're giving me some day offs. Like, that type of shit can really spoil an entire team. But let's not also, like, just go around the fact that this is the first win for the Giants since that boat picture. What a gigantic thing to get off their back. That boat photo is no longer a curse. Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie will come back probably next week, maybe a week after that. And maybe the Giants pull a Tom Coughlin-like thing and somehow find a rhythm late in the year, but I don't see how it's possible. I just don't see how it's possible.
Jerry, are you and your buddies getting nervous now that the Giants are back?
Oh, sweating a little bit over there, Jerry. Maybe a little hot dog to the booty hole there, Jerry. Oh.
They didn't make the playoffs, and I was worried that somehow they were still going to get in. Like, find some loophole, and they would come in, and Eli would play like out of his mind like he does before. Ross Cockrell is a guy they picked up. Guarding Emmanuel Sanders in the slot, a guy who got there a couple of friggin' days ago, and kicked ass. I mean, all the credit in the world to them. How many Giants receivers can you name?
Ingram, that tight end is really good. I've heard from somebody that works for me said that Ingram's good with an E. Ingram with an E. He's supposed to be really good.
How about the wide receivers? The guys who replaced Odell Beckham and Brandon Marshall.
Well, there's that one guy, AJ. What was his name? We were just talking about him a little bit ago. What was that guy's name?
The guy that shot himself wearing sweatpants.
Plexico.
Yeah,
Burrs.
Plaxico's still there?
Nope.
Okay, so no Plexico. Plexico, by the way, hell of a career there that really gets overshadowed by one particular bad decision in a strip club. Adult ballet, sorry. I could not name
It's cool. Plaxico owns that now, man. I listened to him on the Sirius XM show. He went on, he owns it, says how he learned from it. It was cool. He actually addressed it. He didn't try to duck it. It was pretty cool to see.
Just try to get him on the show. Can you text him? Get him on my show?
Yeah. Let me be. Can I be your booker for free?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. Oh, you want a fee? Did you hear what he just did right there? It wasn't about doing it. It was about not getting paid, Jerry. That's what that was about.
I wouldn't do it. I would not do that for you for a lot of money, even.
That's a tough job. That's a terrible job. But I don't know a single wideout. Do you know any of them, Jerry?
I just watched the game, and I've prepared this. I don't know if this is going to go anywhere. Feel free to tell me this sucks, and we'll stop. But I'm going to give you names. It's either a Giants receiver on their roster right now.
I like games.
Or a member of a boy band.
I'm going to nail this. I know the boy bands outrageously.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless it's like New Kids on the Block. What boy bands are recent?
Recent.
Okay. O-Town. Gotcha. Go.
Oh, I like O-Town.
Giant receiver or a boy band. Ed Egan.
Giant receiver.
Yep.
Giant receiver. Okay. Lewis Tomlinson.
Oh, that's One Direction.
Yep.
A+.
Thank you. Thank you. I feel really good, by the way. I feel like Austin on Jeopardy.
Michael Clifford.
Fuck.
That's got to be a receiver.
Got to be.
5 Seconds of Summer.
Wow. Fuck. Can't believe it. I don't know who 5 Seconds of Summer is. Who is that? Who's 5 Seconds?
I don't think they're not a boy band.
I don't think they're a boy band. What is that? Is that what is that?
Contemporary. The last couple of years.
How do I spell it? F-I-V-E?
No. F-R-V-E. Pat.
F-A-V-R-E?
Yep.
5.
5 seconds. It's like Freudian.
This song's terrible.
I drove by all the places you used to hang out getting wasted.
That's not terrible. Take it back.
That actually sounded pretty good. Is that the Hey There Delilah guy? Hey there.
No.
Oh, it sounds like that, doesn't it?
It's a good song.
Great song.
All right, let me see.
I wonder if she was loyal to him in New York City. I doubt it. He's writing songs, and she was just in a city that never sleeps, just acting a fool, I bet. Delilah. Just like Rose from Titanic. Liars, both of them.
All right.
Who did Rose lie to?
Jack, are you fucking kidding me?
Leo?
Yeah, Jack is his name. Have a little respect for the art. But they had enough room, and I'll never let go. She let go.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
But
Okay,
what
then.
the hell? She had just lied to the guy that gave her the diamond. I mean, what's Jack to her at that point?
Yeah, she was engaged. She's like top 5, maybe most famous loose woman on earth. Her, Rose.
Such a bitch, you know.
Very expensive diamond though. Her.
Can't trust Rose, and you can't trust that Keej Luwaji or whatever her name is with Forster.
Keisha Nuwange, please have some respect.
There we go. I was close. I was much closer than I thought, actually. Hey, she didn't work on the Bunny Ranch, did she?
She was at Paradise, Nevada. I think that's the Bunny Ranch, right? Paradise?
Really? Was she real? Okay, I thought. Oh, I don't know. I don't know how that works. The thing about Forster, though, there's a good chance this isn't the only one. Usually, you don't get caught the first time you send those out, or you dabble with the professional ladies.
Yeah, I'm surprised that like thousands of these haven't popped up. Right? This can't have been the first one that he sent out.
It's like Harvey Weinstein. They're all coming out over the last 30 years. Now you would think the Forrester girls would start to come out.
The Forrester girls.
Like a two-woman man, though. His wife of 24 years and our girl, Kiwana. All right. I've got more names. You want to try your hand at these?
Yep.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I do.
No.
Turn off his mic.
Giants receiver or boy band member, Roger Lewis.
That sounds like a white guy, very much like a white guy. So the Giants,
That is a receiver. Yeah.
how apt are they to sign a white wide receiver? I saw one returning for him. I'd say Giants wide receiver.
He is receiver. He is not white though, Pat.
Really?
Giants receiver. You're correct. You're both correct.
Roger Lewis is not a Caucasian?
As far as I know.
It's a profound fucking name. But I might name my kid Roger, by the way. It's either like, because Roger's like 10-4, you know? Roger. It's like a yes. Everybody's like, yep, Roger.
Okay, do it.
It's either that or Midas or Doctor.
Doctor would be sweet.
I agree. I absolutely agree. It's going to be hard to convince the person who bears the child that, but I think I'm going to sell for it pretty hard. Or Sir.
See, my best friend growing up was a Roger, and he was the most ethnic kid in my elementary school because he was the only one that wasn't Irish or Italian. He was a WASP, and I didn't even know what that was. So I'm like, "What? You're an Anglo-Saxon Protestant? What's that?" I had never heard of it. I'm like, "You don't go to St. Francis? You go to what? That little church near your house? Like, that's effed up." So I've lived such a sheltered existence.
Sounds about right for you, Jer.
Pretty much. All right, I got one more name for you.
Here we go.
John Stockman.
John Stockman? I think that's got to be boy band.
Yeah, he's going to be a drummer for some. He's going to be like the punter of the boy bands. Like he's like the guy who sings maybe just the background vocals. Boy band.
Boys to Men. All right, you guys got about 80.
Which one is he?
Yeah.
Which Boys to Men guy is he?
I don't think.
Turnover. I don't know if I got to absolutely identify them.
Those guys are pretty cool, man. I've seen them out. They're good dudes.
Who's what band is Jacob Underwood in, Pat?
Who?
Jacob Underwood.
Couldn't even guess.
Because you mentioned O-Town earlier.
Oh, is he in O-Town? I only know one guy from O-Town. I partied with him one night, and I didn't know until the end of the night that he was a member of O-Town, so I didn't get to harass him as much as I had hoped about my O-Town love. I'm trying to find some O-Town music right now, by the way. Like, do you remember this fucking... Oh my God. Just I hear creaming happening, right? You know, it's a Cold Stone Creamery right now around the country listening to this podcast as this hits right here.
I know when he's been on your mind, that distant look is
In your eyes,
I thought with time you'd realize
it's over. A boy band's a good gig, by the way. You get trapped into one of them. I saw Backstreet Boys singing with Florida Georgia Line the other night, and I'm like, God damn, here's a bunch of guys still making money off of just singing shit.
I don't think they make a ton of money relative to if they're generic, bands that came up through the ranks, because I think these guys just put them together. Like Simon Cowell will just have auditions and pick, all right, you 5 guys. You have a look, you can carry a tune, but I'm giving you a shitty contract. I'm going to make all the money. How'd you like to make $30,000 a year, but you get to tour around and sing like that and have bra clasps just pop off?
Is that how it works? Because I always assumed they all just made so much money and were so wealthy. I understand the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC had that one fat old guy that was taking all their money. But like One Direction was Simon Cowell. Do not tell me America's Got Talent. Simon Cowell is fucking anybody over. I love that guy.
Specifically, they were his, but he does that with his, X Factor or whatever. He's a music producer, right? I just think, like, let's say you're Harry Styles and you can sign a really crappy contract to be the front man of this band that's going to go galactic. You're going to take that and let the money come later on. And by the way, he was in Dunkirk.
Yes, he was. He was like a star of that movie.
Yeah.
No,
he was great.
Nobody talked about that in the lead up to it. I didn't hear his name once as being like the star of the fucking movie. He did well in that movie too. Not a lot of talking, a lot of acting.
Yeah. Well, like my kid rolled his eyes and go, "Oh, really? A cool war movie? And they're going to have like a One Direction guy?" I go, he's a young British guy. He's going to be playing a young British guy. My guess is he can pull that off.
He was great. He nailed it. He nailed the young British guy.
He absolutely did. If you didn't know better, you would have sworn he really is a young British guy.
By the way, there's a documentary you should watch called Unacknowledged.
That's about aliens, right?
Yes. It has nothing to do with young British people, but there are the British in there every once in a while talking about the aliens. 100% real, by the way, aliens. 100%. Not even a doubt, not even a question of a doubt. They are there's aliens everywhere.
Yes, absolutely. I'll recommend a book to you called The Day After Roswell by this guy named Phil Corso, Lieutenant Colonel in the Army, whose job it was to take the stuff from the crash site and reverse engineer. And all the technology we have today is because of what they found at that site. Silicon, transistor, night vision.
Unacknowledged. So there's like 15 of the top guys in like NASA and the Air Force and shit, and they just basically say it all about how there's too much evidence to cover it up anymore. There's just too much evidence to even cover it up, and they're talking about how they know when they're gonna. There's like it's very wild. It was a very eye-opening situation because I ain't never read a goddamn book, Jerry. I mean, I know that book's probably been out a long time. I ain't gonna do it. You put it in a documentary when I can Netflix and chill. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I watched it, and boy, it's a whole new world now. Literally, it's a whole new fucking world. I don't know what to do.
Full-on talk show right now and go, AJ, your thoughts.
Believe me, I would love to believe conspiracy theories. I really would.
It's not a conspiracy.
And I believe me, I'm in on all. I watch all of Alex Jones's stuff. I check everything out, but just no one will stay quiet. You cannot keep anybody quiet. There's all this stuff out here. We know like the documented stuff where the government has to lie to us and stuff that's come out over the years. But no, I have a hard time believing conspiracies, man. I really do. Mainly because a lot of the people that are at the forefront of conspiracy theories are usually not the most credible guys and gals.
Unacknowledged is very credible. All the people in there, very credible. Now, granted,
it's not.
I didn't Google them and follow up on them on who they are, but their titles in the documentary are very credible. Very, very credible.
Oh, yeah. Doctors. They're all doctors, right?
Well, that's going to be my kid's name, just so that this.
Just like Bill Cosby's a doctor too. They pulled that honorary PhD from him though.
Yikes.
Okay, here's a discussion I had with my brothers.
The
Rank
Nashville
these
Predators.
in order that you believe they're real, from most believable to least. So, aliens, we all know how that. Okay, ghosts.
2.
Bigfoot.
2A.
Satan.
Very low 4.
I have very much the same list as you, Pat.
Yeah,
I think most people would say Satan is real, but we're all evil. We all have it within us. Some people more than others. I'm not buying that there's this separate guy, with hooves and a pitchfork and breathes fire out his nose. Ghosts. I've never experienced them. I know people who have very sane people who have experienced things that clearly relate to what
all these people can't be lying. That's all I'm saying. There can't be just millions of people just lying about having the same exact encounter with all this shit. That's all I have to say, AJ. And if you just want to not believe stuff that's right in front of that beautiful face of yours, it's unbelievable.
I would love to believe it. So you're telling me you like the Long Island medium gal, like you think these people are real?
All in.
Oh, no, there are people ripping people off for sure. That's a parlor trick. You just sit there and you go, on this side of the room, I see the letter M.
Don't you?
What?
Don't you realize?
Yeah, well, talk to Penn. You ever listen to Penn from Penn and Teller? He talks about this, and there's like a huge $10 million thing if you can prove that there's like mystical creatures or whatever, and no one. The Amazing Randy, is that
it's
the
not
old
about
guy?
the
like
money. It's not about the money. It's just about doing it for the people, AJ.
Okay, yeah. And with aliens, though, that's the thing. I believe in aliens, but I think aliens, like, who knows that one of us is not an alien? There's hybrids out there. So Chopper, my father-in-law, is all in on this. He believes a guy, a famous author, Stephen King, could possibly be a hybrid because of all the amazing content he has put out.
I don't think it's Men in Blackish. Like, I don't think there's just like, I need sugar water. Like, I don't think that happens. Like, I just
no. It's like, Pat, you could be an alien, but you took on this shell of a human that you are now, and you are slowly infiltrating the human race. There could be tons of them scattered throughout the world.
What? Like, wouldn't I know? Would I know?
No, you wouldn't even know. They took over your brain.
Who did?
The alien.
No, that's not how aliens work, AJ. It's not how it goes. Like, it's not like you find the universe on what's his face's ladder or whatever the fuck. This is not Men in Black.
They're slowly turning you. That's what the whole. Actually, Mr.
There's
McAfee
no
could
way
be
any
the
alien.
hot dog, the frozen hot dog trick, the keister stash it. That could be their one of the first signs that if you do that you may be an alien.
I think planet Earth's livers are the best livers, and I don't think an alien's liver could keep up with the destruction I ran it through for a lot of years of my life. So
that's why it's breaking down.
Yikes.
You know the term Foo Fighters?
Yeah. What's his face? That guy. He plays the guitar really well, and he was the drummer for the Nirvana.
Right. That original term comes from World War II. It's what Allied bombers called the lights in the sky that would follow them when they went on bombing runs. There's articles in the New York Times, you can look them up, where they talked about, some of our pilots reported these glowing objects they call Foo Fighters. They thought it was a German super weapon.
They come around a lot of the bombing situations because they can see it. So they can see it from where they're at, the bombing, and they zip in their little round objects. And they said the one that they've seen aliens from being 3 feet tall, the guy who actually worked with them, who's actually conversated, he has PhD behind his name, said he's seen an alien 3 feet tall, no ears, big eyes, big head, had a suit on, so they got some tailor up in it, whatever city he's in, whatever planet he's on. And he says it's a very normal thing. Like, yeah, my first time seeing an alien. Like, that's how he said, not his only time. Like, my first time, this. And they said, like, the Air Force guys are all about it. They're like, yeah, we see them all the time. They do this, they do that. Yeah. It's just a real thing, AJ. This is what you like to call reality, just teabagging you right in the face.
Okay, cool.
Bigfoot.
I believe you.
I don't have evidence on Bigfoot. I'm just saying it's plausible.
Okay, what is it then? What is Bigfoot then?
What is it?
There's no video footage, and don't tell me about the famous footage they have. It's just not. No, Bigfoot is definitely.
What are you talking about?
I can buy that there are intelligent beings with advanced senses living in the wilderness, because especially if you go up to Alaska, it's incomprehensible how vast the forest is and how few people are up there. And every culture around a certain climate, around the globe have these legends, whether it's.
They all can't be lying, AJ. They all can't be lying. You ever watch Finding Bigfoot? Huh?
No, they're lying. I mean, flat out.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I'm still waiting for that show where they just say, hey, guess what? We found Bigfoot.
I went hunting for Bigfoot. I went hunting for Bigfoot with a deaf guy. That really takes out a lot of your hunting because it's normally a lot of sounds. But I went out in the hills of Georgia, true story, with a guy named Confederate Steve. He was wearing a Confederate flag on his belt. I thought I was going to get fucked in the ass out there. And instead, we found nothing, and we ended up driving back to Atlanta, and I got piss tested at 4:30 a.m. by Roger Goodell. So it was a good day. Great day. But I didn't find Bigfoot, but I still believe.
Well, if there's action to be had on this topic, you're going to get it at no better place than at Sports Action. It is the best app in the world for sports bettors, and it's not even close. Seriously, download it right now if you haven't already. We'll take a minute while AJ educates himself on the reality of these things. Okay, you're done? You can track your bets in real time. You can get live odds for dozens of books, including halftime lines, which is great. When the game's a blowout, when you've already lost, you can make that back with a halftime line, plus in-game live lines. Sports Action is free to download on iOS and Android, and I promise you, I swear with tears in my eyes, it will be your new favorite app if you bet on sports. Get a 1-week free trial of the Pro subscription, which has tons of features like parlay tracking, hedge opportunities, and more. Just click the link. Download Sports Action right now. Fellas, it dawned on me that there's somebody we haven't talked about today who basically broke football, and something we should bring up in our waning moments here. How about Adrian Peterson?
Oh, he's back.
It's unbelievable. He had 89 yards on the year. He has, 139 today and 2 touchdowns and broke a long one. And apparently he was right to be mad at Sean Payton.
Give me the rock, he said. Good for the Cardinals. I'm happy the Cardinals are back. Such high hopes in preseason, and then everything kind of went to shit, and then now, bang, a whole new boost of energy. Whenever you get a guy like that, it opens up the whole offense. It sparks the defense. It's awesome. I'm happy he still got it. Good for him. Big fan of that whole opportunity and that whole
he never went anywhere. That's the thing, and that's what he was talking about. It made no sense that the Saints even signed him. It's good that they traded him away. But go somewhere where they're going to use you the right way and where they need you. Like they've had guys go down, and they need Adrian, and he's going to, as you say, bring a big spark. Who knows what the Cardinals are, though? Like they go from being blown out to all of a sudden put up a bunch of points. They had a huge lead in the Bucks. Jameis went down. Fitzpatrick comes in as the savior and almost leads them back to victory. So that's another interesting topic. But I'd like to see. I bet Adrian can keep it up, man. That dude's a monster.
I wrote about this on Barstool when they signed him. I'm like, that's a weird fit because that's not Bruce Arians' game. You know, I mean, Johnson's so good for them because they throw the ball so much, and they were last in the league in yards. They were last in the league in yards per attempt, and they were second to last in rushing attempts. And there are teams that played fewer games than them. So it seems to me like Arians just said, screw it. Let's just scrap everything and start over and bring in Peterson. And at 32, I didn't think he had it in him.
I'm not sure how much longer Arians plans on the Cardinals having a shot, right? This is Carson's, probably he came back, Larry came back. It's all or nothing right now with the Cardinals. So much hype in the last couple of years. I think Bruce Arians has been around football long enough. He's one of the best offensive minds in the history of foosball. I think he's 100% okay with adapting to what they have, making good decisions, and letting Adrian Peterson open up the back. I think they'll continue to throw later in the season, but goddamn, I think it's so genius just handing the ball to the goddamn horse. That guy is a real-life horse. It's unbelievable to watch.
All right, fellas.
I don't think Bruce has ever had Adrian Peterson either. I don't think he had Jerome Bettis. I mean, I guess that was his guy, right? Was Bruce there in Pittsburgh? Yeah, I don't know if Bruce, as an offensive coordinator, has ever had anybody like. I don't know if there's anybody like Adrian Peterson. But when you have Adrian Peterson, I mean, that's just a whole different animal. That's just a guy that can completely change the game, wreck the game, change the game.
That's what great offensive minds do. They take the talent they have and they put them in position to make plays. And not saying that Sean Payton's one of those guys, but they had multiple guys that could carry the load. Ingram had a good day for the Saints, and they had a big game. But yeah, you're right. Arians is going to put them in position, especially after this game was like, okay, you prove it that you still have it. Well, Adrian went out there and he proved it to Arians and everybody else, so he will see plenty more carries.
And lots more money, yo. Just trying to talk like those kids in the street. I just think someone's going to pay him. Maybe a one-year deal with a ton of incentives for the year after, but that's what he came back for, to try to cash in. But at 32 years old.
What did you say there?
I said
a lot more.
Bad money, yo.
What kids talk like that, Jerry?
Oh, all you hip kids in the street.
A lot more money, yo.
Make 'em bank, yo.
I'd rather watch a Ray Lewis pep talk than that.
Well, a bumblebee can't really fly. Look, I'm a big believer that all running backs should be taken out back behind the barn at the age of 32. But
wow,
I'd be shocked if Peterson doesn't cash in with one more year, guaranteed good money, and then maybe incentives.
Maybe it'll be New England.
You know what? They brought him in for a workout this off season, and it was a shitstorm happened for 2 days just because they gave him a workout. But I think they would absolutely say we don't care about his past, especially when you saw what he did today.
What AJ, have you ever had to do one of those workouts for a team?
Yeah.
What are they like? Do they just try to run you to death? What is it?
No, I think it kind of depends on where you are. Some people definitely would try to run you to death. I did basically when I went to Atlanta, I did a quick one with one other guy, and they didn't try to run you to death. I mean, you get tired. They just want to see you go through drills. I think it depends on how old you are, and I think that for me, they just wanted to see if I was healthy, which I was enough for a workout. That's about it. But no, I think it all depends. Young guys, they definitely will try to run them in, especially if they have 4 or 5 guys on a Tuesday. They'll try to run them in a little bit and see if they're going to quit, because there's definitely guys who have showed up for a workout. They may look pretty good, but then if they start to take reps off and not get back to the line to do these ball drills, whatever they're doing, I'm sure there's GMs and coaches that are like, this dude's not tough enough. We don't want him.
Nice.
Pat, are you going to make Aaron Rodgers do anything to get on your show?
Well, I think now that we've basically become best friends, which is pretty cool. I'm best friends with Aaron Rodgers now. I think it's just inevitable by the end of the week, probably, or maybe next week. Old A-Rod. I don't know what type of rehab he's going to go through, but T's and P's with him for sure. The NFL needs him. I need him. And I'm excited that my friend is going to get better and get healthy and come back to dominating the NFL again.
You might even be brothers with him because he's looking for somebody now. You know, him and his brother went on The Bachelor.
What?
Or Strange. So he's got a brother-shaped hole in his heart that maybe you can fill.
A lot of people say I'm like a good brother. You know, I'd be a good brother. Because you don't have to care about me a lot, but you get to experience life, you know, through me. I think that's kind of the feel. I'm okay with if A-Rod wants to call me his brother. That's a big step, though. We just became best friends today.
Hey, you did something good. Pat started with the flu and hemorrhoids and on all sorts of meds, and you cured him with vitamin A-Rod.
Oh man, it's gonna be. I wish we could have a camera on Pat tomorrow morning when he wakes up. It's gonna be like when people do MDMA and the come down is just so depressing and they struggle. And Pat's gonna be like, "Oh, did that happen?" And his girlfriend's gonna ask him what's going on. He's gonna just talk about his night and feel like it's never gonna happen. A-Rod's never gonna come on a show. Life is over. Hopefully, we have him next week, Jerry.
Now, I've never done cocaine, but I've smelled it a couple times, and the morning after is always an awful thing, and we'll see what happens here. I just think I'll be so happy tomorrow when I wake up. It might be my new Twitter profile bio, by the way. Best friends with Aaron Rodgers. So.
Oh, please do. Maybe I'll check in on you. Maybe I'll FaceTime you tomorrow, Pat, to make sure you're doing okay.
I would love AJ Hawk a FaceTime. I love a good FaceTime. You know that. It keeps me going when random people FaceTime me. It makes me feel good. It really does.
Maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll explain to Jerry what FaceTime is, and maybe he'll even give you a ring.
I've done it. I have a hard time FaceTiming with another dude. Is that weird?
Yeah. So a lot of people say that, but I 1,000% FaceTime with everybody. So actually, I had Stone Cold Steve Austin's phone number for a minute. An agent was trying to sign me, and he had Stone Cold Steve Austin as a client, and he knew how gigantic of a fan I was. So he linked up me and Steve Austin for a phone call to talk to each other. And all of a sudden, we end the conversation. It was very good. It was like a 15, 20-minute conversation. And then 2 minutes later, I get a missed FaceTime from him. So I sent him a text. I'm like, did you just try to FaceTime me? He's like, yeah, dudes don't FaceTime dudes, though. Butt dial. And that's the last time Steve Austin and I have talked to each other. That was it. That was the last time because I didn't sign with the agent. So that's my only moment that I've ever had with him.
The corollary of my favorite Marshawn Lynch quote ever, which is, mans don't take selfies with mans.
Marshawn Lynch was rubbing on Derek Carr's head today, by the way. Real leadership type shit out there in Oakland. Real stuff.
All right, fellas. Well, this was great. Again, this is the one that we're going to send to the podcast awards committee because this is the one we talked about aliens, our butts, and with a little football mixed in. But it's always a pleasure. If you live through this week, Pat, looking forward to talking to you again. AJ, maybe you and I will be with Aaron Rodgers instead.
Beams. Watch out for Beams.
Looks like he's going to have lots of time. Anything else, fellas, before we bounce?
I'm good, Pat. Good luck
Thanks.
the rest of this week. Hopefully that beam doesn't get you.
Thanks,
Number 99 coming to the Colts soon, so looking forward to that.
Who says that? I'm going to put a beam on you.
Wear Kevlar just in case.
Well, it's not like it was a beamable offense either. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
It was a joke that the best is how quickly he responded. That's my favorite part.
It's outrageous. I might die, though. And you know what? I went out on top.
Keep going at him. I think you should keep going at him, Pat. Don't back down.
But, honestly, though, what happens if his friends show up like Aaron Hernandez style and I'm just a goner? I'm enjoying my life right now. I'm getting hot right now. Things are going well. I'm doing a lot of cool stuff, and I can't just die out of nowhere for a great joke about always bet on your dick. That wasn't even about him. If I get beamed up.
You may need some security now, for real.
You want to gear up, cuz, or what?
Gear up. You're gonna need full-time. You're gonna need a full-time driver and a bulletproof car / security guard.
Maybe I call Chris Forrester. Come block for me. O-line, cuz jacked up.
Now lean into this. If don't, or else Tom Petty died for nothing.
Oh wow! What'd you say? What did you just say? I think I missed the front part.
Don't back down, or else Tom Petty died for nothing.
That's
the message left for all of us.
R.I.P. Tom.
Stand my ground.
Pour one out for him. Fellas, this was great. As always, he's at